Well, in some ways, I think my superpower was that I wasn't raised in the industry and that I was out there being an expert to people, and listening and watching and if he knew how to make that thing with something right there, then he'd make it a lot better, And yeah, how do we train our people, Jeff? I don't even know. We don't have a process for it, I was like, yeah, you're right. And, inevitably, and this is tale as old as time, but they just keep saying, I can't keep good people because, I train him to do this thing. He does it for 9 months and then he quits. He says he got bored. I was like, well, did you teach him how to bake? Did you teach him how to slice the meat? No, but he was so good at making the sandwich. I had to have, So it was like all these through lines that I saw. And so in some ways, like I kind of already had in my mind, like, all right, these are the tools that you're going to need in these exact spots. And here's the process when you bring on somebody new to get them from day one to manager. And probably over an 18-month period, I kind of built all those tools.
This episode made possible by Restaurant Systems Pro. With excitement, allow me to introduce to you today's guest, co-founder of KIC Hospitality, Jeff Gothard. My man, Jeff, are you feeling unstoppable today?
I am unstoppable today.
Dude, I'm stoked to have you here. So I found you by way of Rachel Cope. It was Rachel Cope who I referred to the Hunt brothers. Mm-hmm. And the Hunt brothers referred you to Rachel Cope. So I love the world that I'm in right now. And I love when it's full circle and I get to find new people by connecting my world. And she had nothing but amazing things to say about you and Steve. I already had Steve on the show. Now I want to get your perspective, your story, to go deeper into the world of KIC or KIC Hospitality. Do you prefer KIC or KIC?
KIC, I think. Yeah.
KIC? Okay. Yeah. Sorry about that. Yeah. So I can't wait to get into it. But before we dive into who you are and how you got to where you are today, let's get that motivational, inspirational, ball rolling with a success quote or a mantra. Did Steve tell you I was going to ask you this?
Oh, man.
What do you got for us?
No.
You need a second?
Ooh.
What's a core value?
Core value or mantra? Man.
Whatever comes into your heart, man.
Yeah.
First thing.
I mean, it's all about people.
It's all about people.
It's all about connection.
Yeah, we were talking about that before we hit record.
Yeah.
And don't be afraid to get a little closer to that mic.
All right. Come on. It's not afraid. Ain't gonna bite. Yeah.
So why is it all about people? Why does that resonate with you?
Well, I think it's what drew me to the industry. I think it's what's kind of, been the through line in my interest throughout my life. I think I've always felt that. I was an artist as a young man. I think it was theater, it was film, it was moving people, it was that interactive moment. That really just always resonated with me.
It's weird. Yeah. It's like the human relationship is almost like air, like how fish is to water, human is to air. And it's like relationships are to human too. Like we don't realize how dependent we are on relationships.
Social
and
creature.
And like how much of our existence thrives on it. And I think at the end of the day, like business, company, think of the word company. Mm-hmm. Like we're having company over. It's the people you surround yourself with, right? It's all about relationships.
Co and punny.
Yeah. I don't know why I said so enthusiastically, but it's just
from the Latin. No, I'm with you.
Yeah. So
it is magic.
It is, man, for sure. So where does it make sense to start sharing your story? Like you were in Blockbuster. Man. You said you were kind of all about the art when you were younger. Like how did you find yourself working in the world of hospitality?
Well, I guess to back up to some of my earliest memories, I mean, obviously food is a huge part of everybody's life, but for me, growing up in Southern California, late 70s, early 80s, dining with my family was like it. That was it. We had our favorite Italian spot. We had our favorite Indian spot. We had our favorite Korean spot. We had our favorite Japanese spot. Mom was born and raised in Japan, although she's also half Korean. I just felt like, I don't know, something about Southern California in that era and my parents, restaurants were it. It was the shit. Like we're going to Ichiriki tonight, we're going to Agnes's. So I always had that love in me. First restaurant job, I think I was making pizzas in college.
Okay.
And
where'd you go to school?
I went to Princeton.
Okay.
Yeah.
What'd you major in?
I was an English major and a theater minor.
Okay. What was the dream?
Man, to be an artist of some sort. Yeah. And
what kind of art were you going to be making here?
I think theater was the first passion speaking of people and connections, that like ancient tradition, or you get on stage, you tell a story, you perform, and you connect, you move people, you entertain people.
Very close to hospitality.
Totally. And that's, again, been the through line too, is once I saw that sort of these businesses and brick and mortars, particularly in restaurants, I can really have that connective piece. And dining is such a beginning, middle, and an end, and you kind of just, you start and you finish, and it's just such a little piece of theater. And
there's an act going on there sometimes too.
For sure.
Or most of the time, let's be honest.
If you pretend there's not, then that's weird. In some ways. The waiter wants to do something else other than talk to you today.
They are at work at the end of the day. They love their work, but sometimes they just gotta, if they're having a rough day, if the rent's late or they got bad news, they still got to be the best version of themselves.
Absolutely. Yeah. So that first experience was in my wanderlust years post-college. I moved to Huntsville, Alabama, just on a whim. My buddy's brother lived out there. Actually, this was a year after living in Wyoming and Jackson Hole. I had, in my kind of early 20s, made it a mission to see as much of the country as possible. So I appreciate your road tripping, but I've been to all 48 contiguous. I've been to all 50 total. And I did a lot of that during one period in time in college, what ended up turning into a play that was our senior thesis, me and a good buddy of mine. And that kind of took me throughout the country and made me want to go to beautiful places. So hence Jackson Hole for a year. And honestly, Huntsville, Alabama is also an incredibly beautiful spot.
Well, I'm not going to lie. I just had to look it up. I'm like, where is Huntsville? I've heard of Huntsville. Yeah. It's right on the Tennessee border. Tennessee is another beautiful state. That part of the country is gorgeous. The drive through, you got that's just west of the Smoky Mountains. Is it the Blue Mountains?
For sure. I think both of those. Yeah. And then, Huntsville is kind of the beginning of the foothills that lead up into the mountains. Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting. If you ever this is me going down a rabbit hole right now, but if you're into geography and the settling of America, I'm reading a book right now, or I should say I'm listening to a book right now called The Frontiersman. It takes place in the 1770s going into the 1790s. Okay. And it's talking about that the frontier back then was Kentucky, Tennessee, Ohio. And it's crazy the stories that were going on during that time. But if you look at the map, and if you're just looking at cities, at the very where Atlanta is based is at the bottom of the Appalachian Mountain, or I should say Appalachian if we're talking about if we're talking about Atlanta. But it's just cool how there's this everything was forced there because of the way people were moving, and they were kind of bottlenecked to that point because they couldn't go over the mountains. It was so much work. It was easier to go around. That's such a off subject,
but
but it's just cool. But that part of the area, there's a lot. My point being there's a lot of traffic that went through that part of the country, and you can see that Huntsville is kind of right on the tail end of people kind of wrapping around the backside of the Appalachian or the Appalachia.
At the time it was this is probably 92, and it had a huge military base called Redstone Arsenal, but it also had the sub headquarters of NASA. So you had these weird, kind of mix of military yet, aerospace and a university town. Yeah. I don't know.
So what brought you there?
Literally, the buddy that I drove around the U.S. with, his older brother was teaching at a private school there called the Randolph School.
And were you teaching too?
No.
Just wanted to be with him.
Just wanted to go someplace cool.
Got it.
And have the job that required the least amount of effort or mental space.
And what were you doing for work then? Blockbuster? Is that when you started working?
No. So this was the first gig was they were opening up a brand new Tex-Mex restaurant called Tia's Tex-Mex.
Okay.
I don't know if you remember Tia's Tex-Mex.
No.
Apparently, in retrospect, I found out that it was started in Plano, Texas.
Okay.
Maybe reached 40, 50 locations, but it had just opened. Applied for a job there. Me and my buddy. And they were just what are a couple of recent Princeton grads doing, wanting to work here? And we're like, we want to try this, waiting table sounds like fun. And we were both theater guys too, and outgoing. And just so, that was that first foray into it after making pizzas in college.
Okay. So was this mid 90s?
Early 90s.
Early 90s.
Yeah,
okay. Got it.
Actually, no. I take that back. Mid 90s. Yeah. 96. Sorry. Sometimes.
By 99, you were working at Blockbuster and you were there for 6 years.
6 years at
district
Blockbuster.
manager.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what happened in the world of restaurants where you were just kind of like, maybe not for me?
I mean, again, this was, still pursuing the artistic dream.
Right.
And this was kind of morphing from theater to film.
Okay.
And I wanted the job that I could write the screenplays by night and work by day, or flip-flop that.
Adjacent to the world you love.
And Tarantino was, hitting really hard at that time. And he had famously worked down at the video store in Redondo Beach or Manhattan Beach, one of those two. And so that was kind of like, but I needed to make a little more money than a clerk. So, they had a, general manager position available, and I took it. And I mean, in some ways, like, I loved that job.
What do you love about it?
It was my first kind of, foray into kind of team building, It was a product that I obviously loved and could talk about incessantly.
Right.
And, I think the fact that the more organized you were, the more you understood your inventory, the more you could know if you had that movie or not. I mean, there's famous issues with Blockbuster, which was you call in and say, do you have the movie? They'd say, we got it. You'd come down and they'd go to the shelf and it wasn't there because somebody went and walked around with it and left it, or it got stolen, or I don't know. Like, it's funny to talk about Blockbuster video
it's interesting.
problems.
I'm looking for like the parallels, and the importance of just tracking inventory in the world where you're
hugely important.
Like, I never thought about that relative to Blockbuster, but the lessons you must have picked up.
Oh man, it was everything.
Yeah.
Which is why when I got into food, it was sort of like, man, you guys don't know any of the issues that, counting this one video that's been in and out of your building 100 times over and over and over again,
Can you imagine if video stores were a thing during the pandemic with all these people like taking this thing, like the germs associated? Like I wonder if they would have been shut down. They probably would have been shut down.
Things you would find inside VHS boxes. It was pretty nasty. But
actually, I do want to know. Give me the worst.
I mean, mainly it was just like ash from joints, it was just people just kind of using it. Some garbage. But,
I didn't want to know. I
no.
There's probably horrible.
There are other video stores that specialize in other movies that probably had worse stuff. But and just to give you an idea of like when I started, a Blockbuster DVD just came out.
Oh, really?
Brand new. It was one little shelf, and they kind of
in your inventory.
Yeah, and then by the time I left Blockbuster, it was 100% DVD.
Yeah, by 2005, I mean, it was like 2010 is when Blockbuster really started. But by that time, that's when streaming was going.
See it too, though. I mean, that was the talk. It's like, okay, Music Plus, Sam Goody, Tower Records, everything died. It's just more bytes in a movie than there are in music, but isn't this just going to go that way too?
You mentioned team building, and that was a big part.
Let's get back.
That was a big part of what you were doing with Schlotzkys too. You were about really training and developing teams.
Absolutely.
So is this where your love for team building kind of started?
100%.
Well, how did you discover that?
I think it was just that it was kind of action reaction. It was just seeing maybe an employee that was struggling a little bit, or maybe just didn't have any kind of natural outgoing tendencies, just wanted to sit there and get the minimum done. And, when you could sort of turn their eyes onto like what it means to actually interact with a customer a little more.
Yeah.
And I know you're only here because you love movies. So like, why don't you tell them about the movies you like?
Yeah.
And maybe they'll rent it. And maybe
some of the new movies we got in that you should check out. Would you get free rentals if you worked?
Totally. 5 a week.
Nice.
Yeah. And then games as well. Games had just hit too. N64, OG PlayStation. So this is all that era, which again, and the funny thing was
you're bringing flashbacks, man.
Yeah. Well, I was running the Blockbuster on La Cienega Boulevard and right across from the Beverly Center, like Beverly Hills adjacent in the heart of Hollywood. And so we had all the celebrities that would shop with us too. So it was kind of a trip to have that side gig. And back when, that's the only way you get movies back then.
So you were in Huntsville and then you went back to the West Coast when you were working at Blockbuster?
Went back, and tried to more actively pursue the film career. But I did get caught up in these businesses, and I gotta lie, like it became, I can't lie, it was a lot of fun. And I guess this is where that sort of team building, like the results started to come, and my store started to outperform everybody else. And the organization, the minimization of theft, both internal and external, like and that level of customer service. And I mean, everybody remembers late fees, right? Like, so if you could prove that you were organized, you didn't have to worry about arguing late fees because you had a confidence. You
do
know?
the work up front to not have to go searching for.
I know it. I have it. It was late. I personally checked it in. I'm sorry, but that's going to be $7 of late fees before you get your next rental, you know? So, you know, all those things, just running the system as it was meant to be played, like kind of worked out, and getting that level of service. So,
So what happened by 2005? Did you just see that the trajectory that Blockbuster was on and you're trying to, or were you
a little bit?
And then why Schlotzkys? Like, did you give up in the world of theater? Were you done?
Well, I met a girl.
Oh.
I liked her a lot.
Hopefully she's the girl that I drove past when
that is the girl that you just drove past. Yeah, I think we're coming up on our 21st wedding anniversary.
Nice. Congratulations.
But I could go into our whole meet cute, but I won't. But I got married, you know, and needed to kind of get a little serious about a career. Actually, Blockbuster may have continued to be a career, even though we certainly discussed that there's not a long-term future with them. Mainly LA was not the place to be. And I think we just realized that you couldn't afford a home.
Right.
You know, you had to move way out into the valley if you wanted to live there. And we just got married. We're considering starting a family. So
Austin was a hot spot to be back then.
Totally.
Man, we're almost 20 years?
Yeah.
Over 20 years since you moved out here?
Yeah.
How much has Austin changed? Is it even recognizable?
And at the moment when I showed up, it was already a joke. All you Californians showing up here in Austin, you know, buying up our real estate. Best move ever. Yeah. To have got this house 20 years ago was, and this neighborhood was just, new.
Even just driving in here, man, like there you can see that there's just a lot. Austin is growing so crazy.
No,
there's a lot of like new development, or I'm sure it was old properties that got basically torn down for new properties to be built up. Like, you're in a good spot right now.
Oh, it's incredible. But when we moved here, it was newlyweds and nearly deads. That's what they called it, you know. And literally, we bought the house from the original owner who died here, you know.
So your wife, her name?
Marit.
Did Marit have an opportunity out here, and did you get pulled with her?
Oddly enough, she was the one that was truly tied to LA because she was in the film industry and she was in development, but she wanted to start the family. We wanted to get out. And so, ultimately it was Portland or Austin. These are our two choices. And my good buddy, who, again, I drove around the U.S. with, who I moved to Huntsville with, had moved to Austin. He was in the tech world. And he said, man, come out and crash on the couch and, you know, check it out. There was an opportunity to move here with Blockbuster, oddly enough, and they had said, we want you to run the San Antonio market, but you can't live in Austin, but you can live in San Marcos, which is this town 30 miles south of here. But it was like, I'm not moving to San Antonio or San Marcos. I'm moving to Austin.
Those markets today are like hot spots.
Back then, no. Yeah. So it was, it was ultimately, you know, let's start fresh. And at that point in time, it was, I want to commit to restaurants.
Why?
I wanted to start my own. Was the original dream, and I felt like this is the easy way.
When did this dream come into your heart?
Dream had always kind of been there. I think probably 02, 03. That was deep into the yoga world. I was getting, you know, just super healthy, super veg, raw focused, which is funny how that trend kind of hasn't left, but it's just sort of ebbed and flowed. And I just had this business plan for a salad concept.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh man, you're kind of ahead of the curve on that one.
I'm so glad I didn't do it. It would not have worked back then. It was, maybe the world's ready for it now.
So what was your plan? Were you going to get some, you wanted to open this place, but why did you go to work for Schlotzkys? What was the thought process?
No real restaurant experience other than waiting tables for, 9 months in Huntsville, Alabama.
Got it.
And, I knew how to run businesses, but I didn't really know how to run restaurants, And so it just felt like, well, and there's a weird connective tissue that got me to Schlotzkys, which was that I connected with a woman who'd also gone to Princeton who was general counsel for Schlotzkys.
Okay.
Schlotzkys, I discovered with my buddy.
Now that's the title you would expect to hear from a Princeton graduate.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. She was smart, not me. But yeah, I mean, and Huntsville had 3 Schlotzkys, and me and my buddy discovered them and literally ate at them almost every day.
Okay. So yeah, where was Schlotzkys in 2005 in terms of growth?
2005, it had just come off what I believe is the record number of store closures in a year.
Okay.
Over 1,000.
So you're really joining a winning team right now.
It had gone through bankruptcy. It had this, famous cautionary tale in the industry of like, they went public, they got a ton of money. They took all that money and bought A+ real estate all over the US. They built these palaces. But in order to grow rapidly, they found nothing but single store mom and pop operators. Like accountants, lawyers, and doctors who said, I've always wanted to own my own restaurant.
Looking for mailbox money or whatever that is. Or no?
Yeah,
I don't want to make assumptions. No. What up, Unstoppables? This episode is made possible by Restaurant Systems Pro. If you are a listener of Restaurant Unstoppable, I know you've heard me mention Restaurant Systems Pro, but just in case you haven't heard of it yet, it is a all-in-one enterprise solution. All the most critical systems that will help you become profitable. I'm talking about costing. I'm talking about inventory management. I'm talking about budgeting. I'm talking about labor management. I'm talking about training. The list goes on, all under one roof, tied to your general ledger, and they have their own POS, and they integrate with nearly every major POS out there. Restaurant Systems Pro is an amazing tool, and this is the thing that gets me really excited. When you join Restaurant Unstoppable Network, you get access to the CEO of Restaurant Systems Pro, Fred Langley, twice a week for a P&L Power Hour. He literally will let you open up your P&L, share it on the screen, and he will help you close the gaps and increase your profitability. You do not have to be a Restaurant Systems Pro user to benefit from these live events. He doesn't care. We're just here to help you. Head over to restaurantunstoppable.com/RSP to get the full playlist of every Restaurant Systems Pro episode, a link to all the testimonials. And if we haven't sold you on Restaurant Systems Pro by then, I don't know what else to do. But if you really want to up your Restaurant Systems Pro experience, be sure to join Restaurant Unstoppable Network too. All right, guys, one more time, head over to restaurantunstoppable.com/RSP.
They weren't buying markets. They weren't buying 4 or 5 store deals. They were buying one location with the promise that you're going to be able to make a living out of this one. But they didn't know how to run restaurants.
Right.
And because you had so many people coming into the system at once to train, to then go open, it's just... And this was, I think, right at the 2001 kind of downturn, the 9/11 kind of market crash.
What is the history of Schlotzkys?
Started in 1971 in Austin, Texas.
Okay, so this is the hometown.
Hometown.
Got it.
Although part of the reason why I'm not with them anymore was that they moved the headquarters to Atlanta.
Okay.
They might not want you to know that, but
So 71 by
71, yeah.
Where were they in like the 90s? How many locations?
I believe they maxed out at 1,500, 1,600, something like that.
1,500, but
maybe more.
When did they
maybe
franchise?
2000. Pretty early.
Okay.
I think probably late 80s, early 90s.
Okay. Got it.
Maybe even earlier than that, actually.
Okay. So
they had this like very steady rise. They were franchising pretty early. They had awesome growth across Texas into the South, started going to some more far-flung markets that I think struggled a little bit outside of the core. Mm-hmm. But then there was that sort of, the IPO and the monstrous growth, which then led to just unsustainability and incredible like collapse. But the core kind of, I think when it was about 500 locations remained. It was bought out of bankruptcy by a couple of guys out of West Texas, a guy named Bob Barnes and Bobby Cox, who at the time were the largest Blockbuster franchisee in the U.S.
Is that kind of...
So that's kind of the weird thing of them when I interviewed with them saying, oh, Jeff, Blockbusters, we do restaurants in Blockbusters. We know the similarities, our systems in some ways are kind of very similar. And what they needed at the time was people who could talk to people, who could then go out into these markets that had been unvisited for years and reestablish connection with them to the brand.
Got you. So there are 500 locations when you join. Mm-hmm. Did you work directly with Bob and what was the other name?
Bob and Bobby.
Bob and Bobby?
Yeah, for sure. So okay. I worked under the franchisor.
And was it in 2005 that they purchased the remaining 500 Schlotzkys?
Yeah, they had already made the purchase of the company. I think it was only a couple months, maybe a year in when I came back on board.
Okay. And how did you discover this opportunity?
Oh, man. It was something on the internet, for sure. Yeah, I mean, it was not like, well, actually, no. It was through the general counsel. But I think it was maybe a combination of the two. Maybe I saw it and then found...
What's the general counsel?
The Princeton grad.
Oh, that's right.
So we had this little Princeton connection. So
got it.
Yeah, I think she kind of got me in for the interview.
So how many restaurants did they scale up to before they went bankrupt and went down to 500?
I mean, I think almost 2,000. Maybe.
Almost 2,000?
Is a long time ago. So
Yeah.
Don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure, if I recall, it was like 800 to 1,000 units that closed in a year period.
Got it. And you started getting into kind of like, I'm sure there was like, company talk and like culture and history of like, what did we do wrong? Like, what was like what was that like hindsight, like the internal hindsight? What was the conversation like?
I think it was kind of exactly what I said. Yeah. Too many single store operators, just, like nobody was insulated from a downturn in the economy. And honestly, there's buying a franchise historically, which usually is like you go out and you buy the franchise agreement, you lease a space, you pay that rent, you pay them their royalty. But the deals they were doing is they had kind of the McDonald's deal. They had bought the property. They had built the building. So being
the franchisee,
the franchisor.
Okay.
And essentially kind of like leased that to the franchisee.
Okay.
So not only are you paying a royalty to the franchisor, but you're paying, a huge rent number. And, and probably some of the cost of the build out as well. So just the monthly note was so great that, if you weren't doing the 25, 30, 40K a week, you just couldn't cover it.
Okay.
And if you started out gangbusters and kind of slowed down a little bit, I think cash just got really tight.
Right.
And it's easy for somebody who's, all I had was this law firm, and then I took my savings and bought the Schlotzkys, and now it's not going well.
Right.
I'm just going to wipe my hands of it.
Well, I mean, I think we've learned a lot. I mean, the world of franchising is something that I'm really just starting to open myself up to. I'm trying to get more franchisors on the show to share, even franchisees, people who are, diversifying their portfolio. Maybe they have some of their own independent original concepts, but they also buy into, thinking of Brian Bogert right now in Oklahoma City, who has his own like one-off concepts.
Is he?
He's what's that?
Spark?
No. So the Social Order is his restaurant group. He got involved with the Texadelphia. Yeah, that's the one.
Okay, that's based out of Austin.
Yeah,
at least it was. Yeah.
So he went to school at Austin, and then I think it was Austin, it was some Texas school, and he fell in love with that concept. And they used to go there all the time, and he brought it to Oklahoma City, and then he got involved with the Fuzzy's Tacos, and then he started 747 as a one-off, and he has the Jones Assembly in Oklahoma, which is a beautiful venue.
I think Spark is his concept.
Is it?
It's the burger joint.
Maybe.
He's also got the frozen custards.
Let me just look it up.
Yeah. Because he's the Fuzzy Tacos franchisee. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, it's hard for me to keep track of whatever.
Yeah.
But now he's a franchisee of Dave's Hot Chicken. And
yes.
Same
guy. Yeah.
Okay.
Friends with Rachel.
Yes. Yeah. Brian Bogert. Awesome dude.
So, I haven't met him yet, but
yeah. But I love that like that diversification of portfolio.
Absolutely.
And I think it's really smart.
You kind of have to, in some ways, yeah. Or you run into what all those guys at Schlotzkys did, which is they went all in on one thing and one location. And
so was Schlotzkys' business model? Were they trying to make money on selling the franchise? Was that kind of like, I think that was kind of the goal at one point, where I was like, you can get all this money, make it 30,000, 20,000 or whatever it was back then, one-offs.
We get our 6% royalty on every one of those,
Were they making money on the supply chain?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay.
Bun mix, that's that proprietary flour mix that you would use to make your dough or your buns every day.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have thoughts on that today, knowing what we know about what works in franchises?
I mean, yeah, I think if it's truly a proprietary product, that took R&D and engineering, and they've built the facility or the co-packer that can do it for them, and it's a reasonable amount that they're taking off the top, sure.
Right. Well, I mean,
If
at
it's
that
like
point, it's
in
like
the-
vertical integration, right?
A little bit,
I
yeah.
mean, like they're almost like they're franchising the recipe.
Yeah.
And they vertically integrated a concept that needs the recipe. Like,
Exactly.
To your point, I see that angle.
For Schlotzkys, it was minimal. And
Yeah.
in some ways, I think it was said, I don't know, we kicked that money into the National Advertising Fund or something, like it was not, padding pockets or paying bonuses. I have heard some places have tried to do that, and
Getting a lot of pushback. Now,
so sticky. Yeah.
And what I'm learning from people who seem to really know the industry of franchising really well, or the business of franchising, that you just got to focus on the royalties.
Totally. That's the win-win.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Making that side money is not
Pay it forward to the
great.
franchisee, help them save money.
Totally.
And that will all come back around to you. Like that will go to their profit, which you'll get a cut of.
Yeah. Even just the thought of it, I think sometimes I do remember some franchisees being a little bit like, what about that bun mix money y'all making, and it's like, it could be billions of dollars in their mind,
Yeah.
That's actually really not much.
So you think, reflecting back, it was kind of just like fast growth, not really vetting and recruiting the right franchisees.
And again, this is all before my time.
Right.
So yeah, this was all the history. Yeah. I mean, afterwards, the 8 years I was there, I mean, the train completely got back on the track.
Right.
Brought in
all because you joined the team.
Totally. Me. But it was a golden era, honestly. I mean, it really was. It was like,
let's get into that. So
re-solidifying relationships,
Okay.
getting everybody back, in the fold, trusting the leadership, even though Bob and Bobby did about 18 months after I started turn around and sell the company.
was that their goal, just to kind of get in there, self-correct,
I don't
and
know.
then flip
I
it?
think they got an offer they couldn't refuse. I think Focus Brands at the time was buying brands pretty aggressively.
Yeah.
And I think they liked what had happened there.
Was Cat Cole with them at this point?
Totally.
Yeah.
Actually, no. Cat was not quite there yet.
Okay.
Because, Cinnabon was bought, but I don't think Kat was quite running it then.
I keep on saying her name because I'm hoping that eventually I can manifest her being a guest on the show. I've actually connected with her, and whenever she's in Atlanta, she's like the CEO of AG1 now.
Exactly. Yeah.
Hey, Kat, for the record, I drink AG1 every morning. Let's figure this out.
Well, I know Kat. We've hung out a bunch. She's awesome.
I've heard she's awesome.
Yeah.
She's been very good
Inspirational
to me,
story.
but she's just like, we never, whenever I'm going through Atlanta, she's like traveling. Sorry. She moves around a lot.
Yeah.
So I'd love to get her on the show. So Focus Brands, only like 18 months in from when you were there, from when Bobby and Bob owned it.
Yeah.
They're out, but they're at 500 locations when you joined. Mm-hmm. You were recruited for, what was the role you were?
Franchise business consultant.
Business consultant. So you were a franchising consultant with zero franchise experience.
Totally.
That's awesome.
And restaurant experience. I mean, I went through an intensive training
but what were they hiring you for? What was it that they saw that you had?
It was, rebuilding relationships with the franchisees who had gone through this 3 to 4 year horrendous bankruptcy period, where I think
did they ever tell you why you? What did they see in you in terms of this person that would be in the right position to build back relationships?
I don't know. I just might have wowed them in the interview or convinced them that my business insights were so deep that I could help them. Also, maybe I was a sucker enough to travel,
Well, you'll have to see the country.
3 weeks out of the year. Yeah. 3 weeks out every month. Yeah. So, I mean, I was on the road a lot.
What was that training like? What did they teach you during this time in terms of building back relationships?
Well, I mean, first and foremost, it was just the actual operations training. Because for the most part, a franchise business consultant is in the field making sure that the franchisee is keeping the promise of the franchisor, that you are running it to the standard that you agreed to by buying
protect
this.
the brand.
Exactly. You're not out there selling your hot dogs, in a Schlotzkys. You're not deciding that I don't think that sandwich should have that much meat, or whatever. So in some ways you're a checks and balance.
Got it.
But at that time, that's not what they needed. They needed people to actually stop going to Costco to buy chips and to buy the branded Schlotzkys chips through our supply chain that we've now kind of re-solidified,
Right.
And that these are the products you're going to buy and that all kind of flowed together. But that's how bad it had gotten, is they couldn't get some of the basic products. So
that's on the franchisor to have that
totally.
supply chain,
Yeah. They
right?
went through the bankruptcy. And so it was a lot of we get it. We get it. You had to do what you had to do to survive.
But like,
you know,
we're back.
We're back.
Let's get back on track.
We're only strong if we're all a team.
Yeah.
And yeah, a lot of them too. I mean, I think the magic sauce that I found and am now refining with KIC Hospitality is that, you know, fresh perspective coming into a restaurant and just knowing that when you live and breathe the same four walls every day, like it just, you stop seeing it. You can't see it. They would even say to me, Jeff, thank you. Like I lost the forest and the trees.
Yeah.
I could not step back and see it. And I think, you know, I'm a natural collaborator, you know, like, and I was invested in their success, you know, if their stores did well, I looked good.
Right.
So it was a lot of like, man, well, let's figure this out together. Let's talk about your team. Let's talk about your building. Let's talk about your customers. Let's look at your execution of the product, you know.
What was the franchisee's biggest challenge generally when you were engaging with him in the earlier years?
Man, I wish there was just one. It was
the
pretty varied. Staffing.
Yeah.
And not that they couldn't hire. They just kind of like, I think it got stuck with a B team, you know. I think that was often kind of what you'd find is once they kind of got you aside, they'd just be like, well, he shows up every day, Jeff. I was like, he has never looked a single human being in the eye this entire time that I'm in here. Like, you know, like he's staring at the ground. Like he's not good for business, scares people off, you know,
so
I think.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So there was that. I think sometimes they needed somebody to tell them their shit stunk.
Yeah.
It's dirty.
Sometimes we need an outside perspective.
Yeah.
We acclimate, we drift, and we acclimate to the drift. And then we forget where center line is. And
having been pretty new to the industries, but I mean, I'm a sponge. I love getting my hands on, you know, how it's supposed to work. How does it work? How's it supposed to work? Show me all the tips and tricks. Oh, if you take this laser thermometer and run it down the gasket of the walk-in, you can see where the leaks are, you know? And so just, you know, like absorbing all of that and coming in and being able to be like, I'm going to save you money here. You know, I'm going to help you identify issues here. Let me show you how to take apart this piece of equipment that you've never taken apart.
Right.
To be able to clean it here, which is going to give you like twice the heat output and get this thing running like it's supposed to, you know. Like,
so it's just looking for opportunity to help them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was pretty pure. Yeah. It was really that. It was not like, yeah. I mean, there's that other side gig of a franchise business consultant, which did come later, which is time to remodel, time to get into your pocket and clean it up. We've got a brand new branding package, you know?
So that was your side hustle?
No, I mean, that's, I guess, so, you know, there was the rebuilding relationship side, which we were doing.
Right.
But then there's the sort of the main job, which is making sure they're following the brand standard. But this kind of side piece of almost every franchise agreement is at about every 7 years, when we say so, you need to completely remodel your restaurant.
Yeah, you need
to the current trade dress.
Right.
Yeah. And a lot of these places hadn't been touched in a while. So it was kind of that rebuilding the relationship, getting them back on standard, and then kind of being like, all right, you hadn't touched this place in 22 years.
Now.
And you'd have to have all these business cases of, well, look at your buddy down the street.
Yeah.
He got to the new trade dress up 30%, you know?
Right.
So I think, you know, your ROI on this remodel is going to be 9 months.
So when you say side hustle, was that just like the other?
It wasn't a side hustle. It was part of the gig.
Got it.
And we were rated as franchise consultants on how quickly can you get your franchisees up to the standard.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it.
And so that was...
and you were with Schlotzkys from 2005 to 2013, 8 years.
Yeah. So I did transition jobs in there. Yeah.
Yeah. That was the next thing. You went from basically franchise consultant to training, right?
Yeah.
So when did that happen for you? How far in was that?
Ooh, I think I was a consultant for about 4.5 of those years.
So from 2005 to 2009. In that period of time, where did Schlotzkys, I don't know why I struggle with the name.
Schlotzkys. Yeah.
Schlotzkys go from 500 locations to...
You know what? I think it stayed right around that number.
Okay.
But the AUVs went from like 800K to like $1 million.
It's an AUV.
Average unit volume.
Got it.
Yeah. So it's kind of the number they'd look at for big multi-unit concepts.
So AUV of what to what?
About 800,000 a year to about 1 million.
Okay.
Maybe a little less than 1 million. So it was like we'd open new locations, they do very well. And that one that had just been hanging on in a mall that's about to close down in San Antonio kind of dropped off.
Got it.
So it was this kind of like constant top grading.
Okay. What was it about Schlotzkys when you were there, being so health conscious at this point? You want to open your own salad spot, right?
Oh man. Yeah. It all went to the side.
Well, what was it about Schlotzkys that you love so much?
I mean, really the sandwich itself. I mean, as I did mention, it was like, wow. Like I hadn't had, you know, an experience like that at a sandwich spot.
I'm not really familiar with the brand. Like I know that it's like a deli.
You've never been to one?
I've never been to a Schlotzkys.
So I mean, its cornerstone is the bun, and it's baked in house every day. It is more equivalent to a donut than it is bread.
Okay.
It's got a huge grain structure inside, super airy inside, nice, you know, kind of crusty top. It's round, you know, you split it down the middle, you open it up, you do garlic butter and Parmesan. You cover one half with mozz, one half with cheddar, and you put it through the cheese melter.
Oh my Lord.
So if done right and the cheese melter's hot.
Some health kick you were on back then.
Totally. It will brown perfectly. It'll melt into the nooks and crannies.
I'd kick my health habits aside for that, for sure.
And the main sandwich was a take on the muffaletta. So it was called the original. So, you know, following the bread going through, getting toasted, you heat your sliced ham and your salami. And it was, Genoa and Cotto salami. So two kinds. So, and then it would get hit with marinated olives and yellow mustard. And then you'd put the salami and the ham on it, close it up, cut it in half, lettuce, tomato, onion.
That sounds good.
Yeah. And they had their own hot sauce, which was just your typical, you know, Louisiana Pride.
Is that where it started? No, it started in Austin.
Started in Austin, but it was inspired by the New Orleans muffaletta.
Yeah.
So it was like, you know, in 71, nobody in Austin had really had a muffaletta, or I'm sure some people had, but it wasn't, you know, signature dish. And when they first opened, it was like all the success stories you hear now, like ramen Tatsu-Ya, lines out the door every day, you know, and they back then only made one big one. Yeah. It was like more than a person could eat. And they made 100 buns a day. And
you got to think about what was Austin like in 1970. You know, it's only about 100 years after this area was really starting to be settled. Mm-hmm. It's like, I think it was like the Parker family got to Texas in like 1820s.
Waterloo.
And like in Houston, you know, and that was only like 50 years. Or sorry, 150 years before.
Still Austin. UT, obviously, was the UT and being the capital of the state, you know. So tech and education, and I think the tech didn't even really start until the 80s, I think, when Dell kind of came in.
Okay.
Yeah. And that was kind of the hot new industry when I was
here. So like Austin was like a dusty town back then.
For sure.
I mean, there was a downtown, but like it probably, like you drive up on the city now and the skyline, and you're like, even from 2018, from the first time I came through, like I'm driving around now and I'm like, I do not recognize.
It's mind blowing.
Like what's going on here. It's crazy. And this is 7 years I've been coming to Austin. It's growing so fast. But anyway,
I'm almost old enough now to be upset about it. But I'm also tell people like, then move to Detroit, you know?
So what were your biggest points of evolution, your biggest struggle in the first 5, or was it 5 years? 4 years. 05 to 09, 4 years you were doing the consulting.
Probably the travel. I mean, I did start having children. So being away from them was certainly a struggle. I did something even stupider, and I went to business school. I went to UT and got an MBA at the Macomb School of Business. It was an executive program where I'd go every other Friday, Saturday, all day. So having one young kid, a pregnant wife, going through business school and being on the road.
That's rough.
Yeah, it was really just like
How often were you traveling?
Probably about 3 weeks out of the year.
3 weeks out of the
3
year.
weeks out of the month.
Nice.
Yeah. It's usually like I leave on Monday, come back on a
you're
Friday.
Home 1 week a month.
Exactly.
That's rough.
And
How far were you traveling to?
Well, it varied. For a big chunk of time, I had this swath of the Midwest, pretty much from like Kansas, you know, north to the Canadian border.
Okay.
So my big markets were, Kansas City, Minneapolis, St. Paul, Milwaukee, And, these are all markets that kind of had gone into, probably 80s, 90s, sort of established a foothold. Some of them had 6 locations, some had 4. The common thread was that, still the average, I think, franchisee to location count was like 1.6. So very few people had more than one.
Got it.
So that was still kind of the model.
Got it.
So a lot of like larger franchisees or franchisors, will have one guy that's got 4 states, 80 locations into it, right? So the consultant just goes and talks to his team.
Have you heard of Lang's Chicken Fingers out of Dallas?
Lang's? I have not.
So Lanes, sorry.
Lanes.
Laynes, Laynes, Lane's Chicken Fingers. Started out of College Station, Texas, where A&M is.
Yeah.
Started in 1994. I can't remember I think it was Matthew Lane who started it.
Okay.
And a gentleman, something Garrett, I can't remember his first name, purchased it from Matthew and then ran it from 96 or something like that. And then Garrett Reed, different Garrett, and his brother Matt or Eric Reed and Matt O'Reilly. Anyway, they were in the world of real estate development, and they were working for Starbucks, and they just got so good at site selection and building this network of franchisees that they were going out and building locations for, and really just they figured out, they cracked the code of the real estate world, of the developer world of the franchising.
Yeah.
And they said, if we could just had our own franchise with this network and our know-how of site selection and property. So they got the rights to Lanes, which was actually, and I believe this personally, the inspiration for Cane's, because the people that those two people were good friends. And I think, what was it? Who's the guy behind Cane's? His name's escaping me.
No. He's got a dog,
Todd?
Lafayette.
Todd?
Yeah.
Is that right? Todd Graves.
Correct.
Was friends with the guy who purchased the original Lanes. I think there's some shit
similar
going on here.
Product?
Very similar product.
Simple menu.
Anyway, you didn't hear it from me. What's the word? Supposedly, or
serendipity?
No, what's the word when you're you gotta say it after you make a claim just to make sure? Allegedly. Cover your ass.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So
no relation.
Yeah, but anyway, the point where I'm going with this is they went from, I think it was 2018 to 2021. They went to 5 locations, all in house. They scaled it. They kind of hit a wall at 6 locations, and they recruited the COO from Muya.
Okay.
And Fuzzy Tacos.
Yeah.
I don't know, Samir Water.
I don't know him. Yeah.
Super brilliant dude.
Yeah.
Had them both on the show recently.
Nice.
And they went from 6 to 25.
Okay.
From 2022 to now.
All in Texas?
No. But they have another 200 slated to open in the next 2 years.
That level of growth always scares me.
It scares me. I asked them, I was like, are you guys scared? Yeah. How are you gonna protect the brand?
Tell me about the team that's going to open these things. Yeah.
But the thing is, they're because they were in the world of franchise development prior.
Yeah.
They're going to this network of franchise owners who have multiple brands already. So they're successful franchisee operators.
Yeah.
And they have this network. So they're kind of just
that's the only way you can do that. I think.
That's why I'm sharing the story.
Whoa. Yeah.
That's why I'm sharing the story is because of that having
they have their own infrastructure of training and operations. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of how are you going to scale that fast? But because he had the foundation, the network of franchisees already from his experience in site development and all this. So
I will tell you the downside that I have seen of this is when you get these guys that own tons of locations, right? And different concepts, and they'll sign a 20-store deal with you. If the first one they open doesn't work out and doesn't perform to their level, often they'll say, I ain't doing no more. I hope
it works out for them.
Totally. Yeah. I mean,
I'm like, you're not afraid about scaling too fast? I was trying to
the fact that it is going to be all 200 in 2 years means they must be literally building them, right?
They're also, I think they're vertically integrating their development company too.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think.
So they're going to just dirt, scraping it, building a Starbucks and a Lanes, and are they all kind of ground up builds?
I mean, apparently 2 hours isn't long enough to get the full story. You know what I mean? But,
man.
I mean, I'm just learning. There's so much more to this
Yeah.
world of franchising that's
Yeah.
just kind of fascinating, and it's kind of like blue ocean for me in terms of like I'm just getting into this because I'm just curious, you know.
Well, I think just like you said, I think the reason why so many of them are so successful is that they do get that new spot on Main and Main, you know, like, because often I think when you're a real estate developer, you're not going to lease to a mom and pop who's never owned a restaurant before,
Right.
when this 40, 70, 5,000 unit chain is going to say, we'll lease that spot.
Yeah. Main and Main is the name of the development company too.
Is it really?
Yeah. So anyway, so you are kind of coming to realize that, like, you know, if you did 4 or 5 years traveling, you want to start a family, you realize
I thought of the other biggest issue with those years was that the operational infrastructure was broken and was not being updated.
the operational infrastructure of Schlotzkys was broken and not being updated.
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
They were still using the tools that were created in a pre-bankruptcy world, you know, and they were all out of date.
So the bankruptcy was that post 08, the crash?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
No, the bankruptcy was, 02, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
From Schlotzkys.
From Schlotzkys.
So they were using the pre-bankruptcy.
Just nobody had really updated things, you
like,
know?
Like what specifically?
Like how to make the sandwich right.
Okay.
Yeah. It was all like in these ancient binders, you know, that were, if you could even find them, were collecting dust in an office.
Got it.
You know, there was really nothing in anybody's face. So when I was sitting there saying it's 4 pieces of salami and avocado, they're like, "No, Jeff, it's 3." I was like, "No, it's actually 4." We sent an update to the, you know, because we went to a slightly smaller one. And so to get to, you know, and they're like, "Well, my book still says 3." And I'm like, "Well, let's throw that book away because we up, you know." So we had a training team and they were really only responsible for maybe doing the handful of openings you had every year.
Got it.
And so I think ultimately the leadership was sick of me complaining about it.
Okay.
So they're like, "Jeff,
Okay.
will you take over the training department?
You want to do something
then?"
about it? Here you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what did that look like taking over? Like how do you rebuild a training program for how many units at this point?
500-600 right around there. Yeah. I mean, it was, well, in some ways, I think my superpower was that I wasn't raised in the industry and that I was out there being an expert to people, you know, and listening and watching and being, boy, if he knew how to make that thing with something right there, then he'd make it a lot better, you know? And yeah, how do we train our people, Jeff? I don't even know. We don't have a process for it, you know? I was like, yeah, you're right. And, you know, inevitably, and this is tale as old as time, but they just keep saying, I can't keep good people because, you know, I train him to do this thing. He does it for 9 months and then he quits. He says he got bored. I was like, well, did you teach him how to bake? You know, did you teach him how to slice the meat? No, but he was so good at making the sandwich. I had to have, you know. So it was like all these through lines that I saw. And so in some ways, like I kind of already had in my mind, like, all right, these are the tools that you're going to need in these exact spots. And here's the process when you bring on somebody new to get them from day one to manager. And probably over a 18-month period, I kind of built all those tools.
I had Nick Cirillo on the podcast, and he is the owner of Nick's Pizza, and he started Nick's University. And I had him teach a workshop, and what that workshop was called Tangible Paths of Growth. So to your point, from day one to manager, people need a curriculum.
Yeah.
They need a path. They need to be shown a spotlighted path. You want to learn? You want to grow? Here's the path to take. And when they don't have those opportunities, to your point, they will get tired.
You are a cog in the machine, and until you wear out, keep doing it.
Yeah.
And that I cannot believe still to this day, like it's kind of the norm that it's still like, I'm going to train you to do this one thing, do it.
Right.
Yeah. But you don't even want to look over here, you know?
Right.
And I think everybody's now realizing that's probably not the smartest thing to do, you know, because he doesn't show up, nobody else can do that, you know? Cross-training is the key to life, you know? And so, yeah, I don't think we're revolutionizing the industry by really promoting it, but it was something that I certainly promoted, you know, and you know, I built a big chart where you can put everybody's name on one side and all the positions across the top. And, put the old stars on the board.
You are now qualified.
Yeah.
Yeah. You want to raise? Here's the manual to learn the next thing.
How many stars you got up there?
Yeah.
Well, you want to be a manager? I can't make you a manager because you're missing 3 stars.
It's up to you. Yeah. Here's the material. Get to work.
Yeah. So, I mean, it was very well received by the franchisees.
Where did how did you know that this was the path? Like, what was your inspiration for this?
I knew it needed to happen.
Yeah.
And in retrospect, I mean, I wish I would have gone more visual on it. I think a lot of it was text-based, English and Spanish. I did also, I mean, YouTube was baby, brand new, but I did an entire video series that I put on a private YouTube channel, primarily around the baking process, because it was pretty, you kind of had to watch it to understand it.
Yeah.
Very precise in how you had to take this really loose dough and kind of ball it up in your hand and weigh it out in the bun pans and, what that all looked like. So, yeah, I think the videos were also very well received because nobody really, it's kind of in some ways I kind of skipped the photographs and moved right to video.
I mean, you're doing a lot. I mean, keep in mind, again, this is 2009 that you're doing this stuff, from 2009 to 13.
11, yeah.
This is kind of leading edge stuff during this time, using technology to standardize things and saying, okay, here is not just a photo, but a video of what the job done right looks like.
And the chart was, I mean, prescient maybe it was all QR codes. People had no idea what QR codes were back in the day. This is 2000.
You were using QR codes? I
think this is 11. Yeah, 11, 12.
The Princeton grad in you is starting to shine through right now.
Nobody taught me how to use. Yeah, I was just like, how do I get it to where? So I had to have instructions on how to download the app that allowed you to, pull down QR codes.
But way ahead of the curve. But I think the big things is you recognize that there was not enough documentation going on.
Yeah.
There wasn't enough centralizing of information being distributed. Yeah. So you found a solution. Here's a QR code. If we change the video tied to that QR code, as long as you have the QR code, the material will be updated no matter where you are in the world. And you see this today in things like Wisetail, Skooks, Opus, all these platforms, all these training platforms are just centralizing the information so they can distribute it. You update it in one point, you syndicate it, and it disperses to no matter where you are. So
one of the greatest,
So you were doing
assets of technology.
Yeah. And that you were doing that way ahead of the curve. This is what you saw. And not only did you know to centralize it, but the biggest lesson is you also realize that you need to give people a curriculum.
Yeah.
It's not enough to have the data. You need to know in what order do I digest it.
Exactly.
And how do I people need to grow. Yeah. It's a part of human needs. It's right after being seen. Mm-hmm. We have to feel like we're growing, and it's before self-actualizing, right? Yeah. So it's in that sandwich of that the peak of the human needs. You have to give them that path for growth.
And it's missing in a lot of brands.
Right.
I will say, Focus Brands brought a lot of that to the table. In some ways, I think I was inspired by the way they were treating their teams. And by their teams, I mean the leadership teams for the different franchise organizations, from the business consultants to the directors of training to the VPs of marketing. They had a really set system of promoting goal setting, personal accountability, a lot of classes on situational leadership, these things that, I mean, a lot of it was business 101, but the fact that they had spent the time and effort to instill that into their teams, which then could trickle down a little bit to the franchisees. I think so. Yeah, in some ways I was inspired by that.
You said goal setting, business accountability. What else?
Personal accountability. There was I forget the name of this. I mean, they were perpetually dropping the business books on us, which was cool, but then also leading us through classes. Probably the most impactful one was the 4 disciplines of execution, which I think you talked to Steve about a little bit, which again, I mean, it's hard to be more of a true believer than me and Steve are in this thing, because really. That
was the 4. Say it again. I always can't.
4DX is the kind of initials, but it's the 4 disciplines of execution. It was kind of through the Covey brands, Franklin Covey.
Yeah. Yep.
But
I mean, we got into that. You're right. I mean, that was the first time I ever heard. I mean, obviously a huge fan of Stephen R. Covey, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Yeah. I love the book that his son wrote, The Speed of Trust. Did you ever get that one?
No, and I think Steven is also the 4DX guy.
Is he?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or one of the guys. It's 3 people that wrote it.
Okay.
Yeah.
What
was it called? The Speed of Trust.
The Speed of Trust, and just this idea of if you can build trust in an organization, things just move faster.
Yeah.
You know,
100%.
Yeah.
That's
So we'll just cover the 4 disciplines real quick. I know that Steve spoke on. We don't need to go deep, but just to resurface them, what are they? What up, Unstoppables? This episode is made possible by Restaurant Systems Pro. If you are a listener of Restaurant Unstoppable, I know you've heard me mention Restaurant Systems Pro, but just in case you haven't heard of it yet, it is a all-in-one enterprise solution. All the most critical systems that will help you become profitable. I'm talking about costing. I'm talking about inventory management. I'm talking about budgeting. I'm talking about labor management. I'm talking about training. The list goes on, all under one roof, tied to your general ledger, and they have their own POS, and they integrate with nearly every major POS out there. Restaurant Systems Pro is an amazing tool, and this is the thing that gets me really excited. When you join Restaurant Unstoppable Network, you get access to the CEO of Restaurant Systems Pro, Fred Langley, twice a week for a P&L Power Hour. He literally will let you open up your P&L, share it on the screen, and he will help you close the gaps and increase your profitability. You do not have to be a Restaurant Systems Pro user to benefit from these live events. He doesn't care. We're just here to help you. Head over to restaurantunstoppable.com/RSP to get the full playlist of every Restaurant Systems Pro episode, a link to all the testimonials. And if we haven't sold you on Restaurant Systems Pro by then, I don't know what else to do. But if you really want to up your Restaurant Systems Pro experience, be sure to join Restaurant Unstoppable Network too. All right, guys, one more time, head over to restaurantunstoppable.com/RSP.
I mean, ultimately, it is an operating system for your business, right? So it's a little less kind of esoteric or theoretical. It's more like, here's a process to implement. First off, what is the number one goal in your company?
Where are we going?
What is the wildly important goal? And you need to frame it in a from X to Y by blank, you know? It can't be the best we can be, or, you know, sell more.
SMART goal.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Specific, measurable, actionable, realistic, time-bound, perhaps?
Time-bound is one.
Realistic, I thought, was the R.
Maybe realistic?
Yeah. I've heard it a couple of different ways.
Yeah.
But yeah, all from that basic tenet. But then not just having the goal, then it's actually like figuring out how to achieve the goal.
So number 1 is, what is the goal? And number 2
is focus on lead measures. So a lead measure is the action that you take that can impact the wildly important goal.
Got it.
So it's essentially breaking it down into, what can you do this week that's going to have the greatest impact of getting us to the goal?
Okay, well, now what's number 3?
Number 3 is creating a compelling scoreboard. Which again, I mean, this is kind of back to like the chart that I was making, you know, it's classroom 101, right? But if you're not looking at it, and if it's not active and changing, you know,
are our efforts moving the needle?
Exactly.
What are the KPIs?
Yeah.
Week over week, are they moving? Are we actually doing
But having
something?
it like, and that part of the process is really, you know, going to the Michaels and arting it out, you know, like taking some time to make something super cool and compelling.
Right.
That every week you're updating.
Yep.
And so you're seeing the man climb the mountain, or,
Right.
you know, so, I mean, as they say, and you couldn't, you know, 5 guys just shooting basketball around on a playground is one thing. The minute you start keeping score,
different
it's
game.
a whole different thing. So
yeah.
keep score.
So what is the goal? Focus on the measure, focus on lead measures.
Yeah.
And creating compelling scoreboard. What's the last one?
Cadence of accountability. So essentially every week you have a meeting and you say, last week I said I was going to do these 3 things. I did them and it had this impact. This week I'm going to do these 3 things.
Yeah.
And that's it. It's not an ideation session. It's not, you know, it's no brainstorming. It is purely just a report out. You make it as quick as you can. But, you know, as they say, the public commitments that you make are infinitely more likely to be kept than ones you know, keep in the back of your mind. Boy,
it's interesting. You know, Gino Wickman,
Gino
EOS,
Wickman, yeah.
very similar structure.
Rocket fuel and
What is the goal? VTO. That's probably the equivalent. Vision traction organizer, vision, like culture, what is the vision? Where are we going 5 years out? Right. Yeah. And then focus on the lead measures. Those are what they call rocks. What are the three things you can do that if you focus on these things and like you set your weekly goals over time, we will follow our scoreboard, which what they call the compelling scoreboard. Same thing, same terminology.
Do they call it compelling score? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, no, it's just called the scoreboard.
The scoreboard.
Yeah.
All right.
And then I think cadence of accountability, level 10 meetings. So you have your annual meeting, your 2 hour or your day long annual meeting, your 2 hour long, I can't remember the cadences, but it's just like, I think it's a day long or 2 day long annual meeting. And then it's a 1 day long quarterly meeting. And then it's a weekly, like something meeting, like
quick
the L10, L10. So like, it's just, to your point, it's a cadence. It's an annual cadence, a quarterly cadence, and a monthly cadence, and a weekly cadence, essentially, I think.
It's so counterintuitive, but clearly effective. But I mean, if you worked in restaurants, right, it's that to avoid it feeling like Groundhog Day is so hard.
Right.
And it's really just, I guess I've always been able to kind of, I don't know, just watch things change over time and loving to see the evolution, but you can see how everybody else just can get so caught up in the day to day.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one of the things that they define is it's the whirlwind, right? The whirlwind is your day to day, and you cannot minimize the whirlwind, right? People are going to get sick. The alarm's going to go off, like the food's not going to show up.
Yeah.
So you can't, but boy, so many people make a job out of the whirlwind.
Right.
And that's it.
It's the fun, the excitement's in the details, but you need to create routines and rituals and focus and like the score, right? And having it's as simple as showing up today a better version than we were yesterday, but showing up in what direction? Where are we going? Yeah. Like what's like to your point, like what's the vision or like what's the clear goal? And showing up every day, like trying to move the rocks or move what you would call the focus, the lead measures, right? And like where can we direct our energy? Where are we going? Let's get there. How do we do? And that takes you out of that mundane, that the being stuck in like this
feeling like you're doing something.
Right.
Yeah. Like, oh, I did something. I mean, there's, the Japanese tenet of Kaizen. Exactly, right. Constant improvement. Now, the Eastern mentality versus some of this, there's some conflicts, Right.
But if it ain't broken, don't fix it.
There's also a culture where, I'm going to make this same piece of pottery every day for 50 years, and I'm going to find the beauty in that, whereas I think in the Western mind, can make people a little crazy.
Right.
That Shokunin craftsman mentality. That's sort of like, I'm okay with just making the rice.
It's also the Eastern culture, yin and yang. In every one truth, there's an equal and opposite truth, and it's about finding a balance. There is something to be said in getting better every day, but there's also something to be said in just finding the peace in
day-to-day activity,
culture, and history, and ritual. So you said something that I want to kind of bring back to the surface. I don't think we're going to make the 2:30 meeting. Is that okay?
Oh, that's fine.
Are you sure? Yeah. We haven't even gotten
kind of looking to miss it.
Yeah. So you said that they help with your personal goal settings, right? They help with personal accountability, and they help with business development. But the cool thing is what you just shared with us kind of touches on the goal setting. So it's not just goal setting within the organization, but what are your personal goals within the organization?
Yeah.
Right. So here's the vision of the organization. What's your vision for yourself within the four walls of this organization? Was Focus Brands kind of helping you with, is that where it was next level?
Yeah, I think so, for sure. Yeah. And there was some movement cross concepts, in some ways what I did kind of while still being the director of training was I became the kind of lead on co-branding, which was something that was big at the time in Focus Brands, which was essentially taking a Cinnabon micro and putting it in Schlotzkys. And that's where I got to work with Cat Cola a bunch, but it was really kind of that synergy between two brands where you can introduce this nationally known brand into your Schlotzkys. You put a sign up on the wall, and you just incorporate this little display case and warmer and oven into your existing operations.
Now I'm thinking about a muffaletto on a cinnamon roll.
I mean, in some ways, you talk about health. This is probably a moment where I was like, man, how many more carbs can we force down people's throat? This is just big bready sandwich and like, you want to wash it down
Sounds
with
good.
this?
I'm not gonna lie. I would have one bite just to know what is that like.
Yeah, I kind of would make the choice. It's either the sandwich or the Cinnabon.
You also have to think about Kat Cole, who goes from focus brands, right, to AG1. Like, what kind of internal turmoil was she dealing with, where she felt like she had to get back to like?
She started at Hooters, so yeah. So I think she was on an upward progression.
But what complete opposites in terms of like organizational goals.
No,
right?
for sure.
Anyway,
no, it was, and you're right. I mean, focus brands did definitely. It was all about personal and professional goals, and so much attention was placed on like, what do you want to do?
Yeah.
And honestly, if your job and your goals diverge at some point in time, and if we can be part of helping you achieve that, even if it means you're not going to be here anymore, we've done our job and we'll sleep well at night. And,
but look at,
I'm here years later, over a decade from Focus Brands. I still talk well about them.
But the big things I think we can take from your story, right, is that, people need a clear path of growth.
Yeah.
They need, you need organizational structure. Mm-hmm. Where are we going collectively? Yeah. And then where do you want to go? Whether that be within our organization or someplace else, how can we help you get there? But people need to feel like they're growing. And when they know that you're vested in their professional or personal growth, whether it be with your organization or maybe they want to be a photographer someday. Well, we need help taking photos. Like, congratulations, like you can start practicing here.
Exactly.
And we can do that on a small scale. Yeah. We can take these lessons that you're sharing with us with the 4 disciplines of execution, or whether that be EOS, but what these are doing, they're just saying, where do you want to go? Yeah. What's your strategy and plan to get there? How are you going to measure whether you're moving in the right direction? And are we going to create rituals and routine around making sure we're getting there every week? Whether that's for your organization or for an individual on their individual path. Yeah. Like, we need to start doing that at a smaller level. We need to start caring about people's future and their growth. So, and when we do that, it comes back around.
And man, it's easier said than done.
Right.
It's in some ways the hardest thing.
Right. So what was that the hardest thing for you?
I mean, in some respects, I still, waver on it personally, using it just for my personal life. It's hard. It's very easy to take a week off. It's very easy to not, especially when it's kind of just personal stuff,
right.
Personal growth, personal goals. But,
so what do you do to overcome that challenge?
You give yourself some grace, right? You forgive yourself, kind of understand that maybe I got a little, kind of forgot about that 10-minute meditation every night, Like we can get back to it though.
Yeah.
It's not like you got to start over.
There's two books I started reading at the beginning of this year. I think for 2 months I listened to them like back to back on a loop because like I'm guilty of this. Darren Hardy's The Compound Effect.
Okay.
And Brian Tracy's Eat That Frog.
Okay.
And it's this idea. Are you familiar with either
No,
of those
neither.
books?
No.
It's just this idea of like, how do you, like, the compound effect is focus on doing the little things and just start.
Yeah.
And just keep showing up and keep working to those goals, have clear goals, and think to yourself, like, what can I, but like, if you start little things, the little things get bigger and bigger. And eventually like those routines, those rituals compound, and like little things like starting to keep a little notebook with you and tracking like your progress, like having your own personal scoreboards, right? Or having a to-do list and like a month, like a annual to-do list, a quarterly to-do list, a monthly to-do list, and a weekly to-do list. And like, where do you want to be in your year? And start prioritizing and moving, like, and it just compounds. Yeah. And I think there's some great resources out there.
You started out with one podcast, right? You did your first one.
Yeah, exactly. It compounds. So
and you've done 9 now?
Yeah. Oh, 900 and a little more.
Plus 300.
1,200. Yeah. So what was next for you? Like, why leave Schlotzkys? Like, what was happening for you? Like, what was your vision for yourself, and why wasn't it with Schlotzkys?
Well, I mean, it was, it was a moment where I think all things were moving to Atlanta. I think that was it. We saw consolidations of a lot of the headquarters.
And your home, your life was here.
It's here. Yeah, I had some girls. And so I had started looking locally at what's there. I also kind of at my heart am like an independent a little bit, I still kind of had dreams of this salad restaurant a little bit. Started to rekindle some of those thoughts. And at that time, there was like a single wildly successful ramen shop. It was the first brick and mortar ramen shop that opened in Austin.
What year is this?
This is, I think the ramen shop opened in 13.
Okay.
And so, yeah, I was tracking it. I was eating it. I was loving it. Started a conversation with the chef owner. And about a year later, he brought me on.
Okay.
As kind of the first adult hire,
Got it.
the first sort of like, I don't want to say adult, but, like kind of somebody with experience in the industry beyond working at a restaurant.
Got it.
And so the second location was under construction. It was literally right on South Lamar, a mile from my home. And so,
I lived less than a mile from here in 2018.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So you lived in Austin for a while?
For 3 months.
Okay.
When I was traveling the country in my Honda Fit.
Yeah.
For 3 months, I was
way to upgrade.
Yeah. Shout out to Casey Hensley, who basically rented a room for me while I was in town. Did a bunch of interviews in Austin. I was like, I could see myself coming back here.
Yeah.
I like this city. And then in 2020, I was like, I think this is going to be the year. 2020 is going to be my year. January 1st, I moved to Austin. And I was here for 6 months before I went back home with my tail between my legs because I was like, I don't know if I'm going to get paid. Sponsors weren't being paid, so they kind of trickled down to me.
To. Yeah. I was same thing. Yeah, we just put in the pools. I'm like, I'm gonna be out here. Yeah. So anyway. You're right. Yeah, if you didn't have a home base here, I mean, at least you weren't in Manhattan or some of these places where people got shut in with death all around you. I mean, knock on wood, Austin didn't get hit as hard as other places.
So you triggered me with South Lamar because this neighborhood was where I was staying at one point. I had
That's so cool.
Here, and it was nice coming to see this neighborhood where you are today, just off South Lamar. So basically, Schlotzkys was going to Atlanta. You wanted to stick around. You see this brand that you really love, one location. How did you approach this restaurant tour? Give him some credit. What's his name?
Tatsu-Ya.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was it about Tatsu-Ya and his concept of Tatsu-Ya? Wait, what's the name?
Ramen Tatsu-Ya.
Thank you.
Yeah. The ya at the end always means shop, so it's like Tatsu's ramen shop.
Gotcha. So what was going on with this ramen shop that really pulled you in? Why did you see that there was opportunity here?
Well, cuisine I grew up on. My mom was born and raised in Japan, and now granted she was taking the top of ramen type, but she was always doing it up, and so I kind of had known that leveling up ramen was a thing. It wasn't just the cheap food you ate, in the college dorm. Also was paying attention to trends coming out of Japan as always, being a big foodie. So yeah. And the way the public here reacted to it.
How did they react to it?
It was ridiculous. It was an outsized reaction. It was,
ramen's delicious, man.
And this ramen was next level. I mean, Bon Appetit put it as a top 50 new restaurant. As a counter service ramen shop, in 2013. Literally lines. They had to kind of redo the whole way the businesses in the strip center worked because they were going to line up. And so, who didn't want 30 people in front of their business, well, let's make the line go that way.
Right. So from a economic standpoint too,
wildly successful. Yeah.
Flour and water, rice flour or rice.
Yeah.
Rice noodles.
We figured out how to make it expensive, boiling hundreds of pounds of bones, just to discard it,
But usually you make ramen from discard, right? Like it's the using of the last.
True.
What's left over.
Literally the bones. Right. Yeah. Cracking them open, boiling them until you've extracted every little bit of it. Yeah. All the collagen and making the soup out of that. But no, you're right. I mean, a profitable product and just wildly successful business, and felt like it was, a sector of the industry that kind of was burgeoning. I knew there was a couple places, LA and New York, that were starting to hit. David Chang, Momofuku kind of just came out, or had been out for a little bit. So
and it can be super chefy too. Like
totally.
Yeah. It's a relatively inexpensive product, super chefy, almost infinite creativity.
If you want to, put in a lot of time, you can put in a lot of time.
Yeah.
And still to this day, Ramen Tatsu-Ya puts in a lot of time.
So
you can taste it.
Are you able to talk about like the economics of this business model? Is that something you're allowed to do? You were a partner at one point, right?
Yeah. And still investor, still, equity shareholder. But yeah, I don't know. I don't want to talk too deep
What
about
about
it.
like percentages, like prime costs?
Yeah,
I don't want to talk about revenue.
Food cost early on was pretty good. It was able to get into the low 20s.
Okay.
Yeah. And
food cost of
food
goods,
cost, yeah.
low 20s.
Yeah.
What about labor costs? Where are you guys at?
Labors were pretty good as well, kind of. And again, this was a counter service model, but all the front of house employees were getting paid $213. And with their tips, we're making $25-30.
Okay.
So they were getting paid like fine dining servers
Because of the volume.
because of the volume, and just for some reason, when you're that popular and that hip, people are still tipping 15% in a counter service environment.
You're using Revel too, right?
At the time, yeah, I think Labu was maybe the original, and they kind of moved to Revel right when I came on.
But this is right around the time where they have the forward-facing POS, where you can put it on a card and then you can add a tip.
Exactly.
So that was also new around this time.
Yes.
So
that was a game changer. You're right. You're right. Yeah, that's like, because prior to that, 100%, even at a Schlotzkys or a Starbucks, it was just the tip jar.
Yeah.
And it was so minimal that a lot of companies just frowned upon it, because it was sort of like, why even put that
quick
there?
Service? Yeah.
It's literally just a coin collector. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. I think that's 100%
but you
part of
went
it.
from like whatever change they handed back to you to $1, $2, $3, or they would just say 20%.
18, 20, 22. Or
a little precursor of what was to come.
Some people, 20, 40, 90. Yeah. Like, wow, really? For doing what? But I mean, the level of service was better. I think people, after they tipped, realized, okay, they're bringing me out my food in real ceramic bowls, with chopsticks. And when I'm done, I get up and I leave, and they bust and wipe everything. So, like, other than the server at the table, it was a fast casual environment.
Okay.
But the original location, 1,600 square feet, like just 50 seats, and from open till close, it was literally a game of how fast can you turn a table? How fast can you turn a seat? Other than maybe a little, actually when I first started with them, there was a break between lunch and dinner. It was 11 to 2, 5 to 10.
Got it.
And, boy, at night at 5 o'clock, that line started at 4:30. You'd have probably 60 to 100 people in line at 5 when you opened. So you'd fill the dining room, you'd get everybody out, you'd try to get that second turn, and then you'd be on this kind of one in, one out system. Yeah.
So south of 20% on cost goods. What about labor? Where were you? Were you south?
Similar, yeah.
So you're doing the 40% prime cost.
Yeah, it was more like probably 46, 47, kind of like the 22,
well,
23s for
food,
both.
but you're not considering the other costs of goods, like packaging and things like this. Was that
very little? It was zero to go. Never, don't even ask.
Really, to go?
Never.
Because ramen to go is like does well, holds up well. No?
Not in Tatsu's opinion, and I ultimately kind of agreed with him. And this
division.
Pork bone broth, the tonkotsu ramen, calls for a super thin noodle, and it's literally boiled at just under 30 seconds, and when you put it in 200-degree soup,
and cover it,
like it is continuing to cook, and it'll just
disintegrate.
Exactly. Yeah. Just get kind of blown out.
Yep, I see you.
So. I mean, that was the joke. I mean, if people came in and even wanted, like, well, can I get 2 bowls? Can I get one of those to go? No.
Would protect the brand, right?
Yeah. So literally we only had, these like small to-go containers for leftovers, because obviously some ramen shops won't even let you take your leftovers home.
Really?
Yeah.
And it's all just protecting the brand and the quality.
We're not going to give you a subpar product.
Like you stupid American, that's not how you eat this.
You're not doing it. Plus, I mean, with the amount of collagen and gelatin in that broth, right? It in the refrigerator overnight just turns into a brick, you know? Like, so, we knew that would be a bit of a turnoff for some people. Right. But yeah, we'd force you to like shovel it into 2 containers and make a huge mess if you even tried to take it home. So it was so discouraged.
Okay.
Of course, cut to COVID, and that's all you did. But
right
for those first 6 years, it was like, no, we never will. Don't even ask.
So during your time there, what was your occupancy cost in the first location? Percentage?
So disgustingly low. It was kind of an old strip center. Yeah.
Like 3%?
I think rent was under 1%.
Under 1%. So this is a very profitable model. And you're alluding to the amount of volume you're doing. Yeah. So I can see why you're looking at this going, maybe my talents can be utilized here.
Home run.
Yeah.
Without a doubt, a home run location. And the things that I obviously saw walking into were your most popular broth, you're only selling at dinner because you have capacity issues for production. You're selling different ramens at lunch. You're closed from 2 to 5, At this point in time, they'd already realized that the little kitchen they had couldn't even keep up. So there was, an offsite kitchen that was just around the corner that was just making soups.
Yeah.
And, some of the pork belly and some of the eggs. So, kind of almost just by necessity, a little commissary model was already designed into.
You want to grab some ramen after this? You're making me hungry, man. There's one right down the street, right? I might be going there after this. So what you're going here, you're eating it, you're loving it.
Yeah.
Talking
to Tatsu, we honestly had meetings probably, I don't know, once a month for a period in time, probably almost a year.
How do you work your way into an organization that you believe in without being threatening, without like how did you approach Tatsu?
Oh, really just, reverence, with appreciation, understanding of what he does. And then also, hey, I've been in this thing for a while. I've been in business for a while, went to Princeton, got an MBA from UT, I'm in the industry, I got a mom who was born and raised in Japan, feel like this is a good thing, this could be a really good thing. Yeah. So,
how long were you courting him before actually?
It was about a year. Yeah.
Okay.
And so, the South Lamar location number 2 was under construction, and it was probably, I don't know, a third of the way through construction when I came on.
How far was that from the original location?
7-8 miles.
Okay.
But between South Lamar and the original location, which is up north, you have downtown and then the University of Texas. So, it was, well, you would have said there would be no chance of cannibalization, but that wasn't true because you did see a drop.
Well, because people were coming from that far.
The popularity of it was so great.
But at this point, you're doing like a service to your customers because you're really going to make them wait in line for 2 hours.
Yeah.
When you can spread that out and do probably more volume, both locations were probably busy, but now you're doing it times 2.
Yeah. No, it like there was that kind of immediate drop in business, and then it kind of came right back.
Right.
And if anything, continued to grow because kind of we're back out in the popular sphere.
So from 2014 to 2023, and to this day, you are what's your current title there?
I'm not involved in anything other than I have some investment in it and some equity in it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So your investment is making money for you to this day.
Hopefully it will at a later moment when something else happens.
Got it. Yeah. 2014 to 2023, in this 9-year period where you're working with them as a partner.
Yeah.
Where did they scale to?
10 locations.
10 locations.
But there was a bunch of off brands as well that sort of hit. Kamuri Tatsu-Ya was the first. And
what was that? What's Kamuri?
Kamuri Tatsu-Ya? You hadn't heard of it?
No.
Right. It's on the east side. It's an izakaya, which is like a Japanese smokehouse.
Okay.
Sort of, it was a mashup of kind of Texas barbecue and Japanese pub food.
Is Aaron Franklin a part of this? Or
no, that's Loro.
That's Loro,
which
he did with Tyson Cole.
Oddly similar, yeah.
Yeah.
Kamuri came first.
Okay.
And in some ways is.
So what was the other offshoot?
Dip Tatsu-Ya, which is a shabu shabu restaurant.
What's shabu shabu?
Shabu shabu is where, historically, it's a communal pot of boiling broth, very lightly seasoned broth, that you swish your raw, thinly sliced meat into. Shabu shabu is the onomatopoeia of swish, swish, and so you get very high grade, thinly sliced meat. You just barely swish it in the broth to just cook it, and then you have a variety of dips that you're then dipping the meats and vegetables and whatever else you're going to cook into the pot.
What's that cuisine I can't think of?
Well, there's hot pot as well, which is kind of the Chinese, Korean version. There's a bunch of them. There's People have tried to grow it. Little Sheep was a brand that kind of tried to grow hot pot.
The idea of putting very thin raw meat into hot water, what's that concept that I can't think of right now? Not Pow. I'm so bad with
hot pot. I mean,
maybe it's hot pot. I don't know. So okay.
Yeah.
So
shabu shabu is the Japanese version of it. So yeah, dip Tatsu-Ya that opened.
Kamuri Tatsu, dip Tatsu-Ya.
Yeah.
What else?
Tiki Tatsu-Ya. So hence the love of the pineapple, and that actually shares a wall with the Ramen Tatsu-Ya on South Lamar.
And is that a just cocktail bar?
Tiki bar and restaurant. Yeah. I mean, it has a lot, not necessarily a full menu, but definitely a solid menu. Yeah.
Okay. Any other offshoots?
I mean, there was a few things that there is an adjacent bar to the Ramen Tatsu-Ya on East 6th called Domo Aligato. And that kind of has its own beverage program. It's primarily an outdoor bar done in the style of like a Japanese back alley.
Pho is the word I was trying to think of earlier.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, it just came into my head. Sorry.
Vietnamese noodle soup.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Sorry. Everyone's like probably like, there he goes. They were all saying it for me at home.
You're right. and that's, that's composed. In some ways, that's kind of the precursor to ramen. You get the bowl and yeah. Shabu shabu, it's like you have your raw meat sliced on a plate off to the side, and then you have the bowl of boiling broth, and your meal consists of this interactive thing of dipping things into your broth. So dip. Everybody actually had their own induction burner pot in front of them with all your food around it, and you were kind of DJing your experience. A little bit of the short rib over here dipped in the sesame dip, and then I'm gonna do the ponzu with.
Reminds me of Korean barbecue a little bit.
A little bit, yeah.
That family style of like, here are all the ingredients,
exactly.
feed yourself.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah.
So okay, we had Tatsu-Ya ramen times 10, or ramen Tatsu-Ya.
Ramen Tatsu-Ya
times 10.
I think there's 7
now.
There
was at one point though. When you were there, you said you had scaled it
total of 10. 7 ramen Tatsu-Yas, Kamuri Tatsu-Ya, dip, and Tiki. So 10 total locations.
Got it.
7 ramen Tatsu-Yas.
For a total of 1, 2, 3,
10.
4, 5 concepts. Because you had Tatsu-Ya ramen, Kamuri Tatsu-Ya, dip Tatsu-Ya,
Tiki Tatsu-Ya,
and Domorari. I'm such an
Domo,
uncultured
literally
guy.
Aligato. It's like alley cat. Like it was kind of a play on.
I realize
arigato.
I'm so horribly uncultured right now, and I'm from New Hampshire. Give me a break.
Well, the thing to remember is that the Tatsu-Ya is always the add-on at the end.
Gotcha. And
so
Tatsu-Ya is the name.
Tatsu shop. Yeah.
Got it.
So it's either
that's
Tatsu's ramen shop, Tatsu's izakaya. Kamuri means smoke in Japanese. Tatsu shabu shop called dip.
For the record, I'm just as bad as trying to say Italian things. When I say cacciatore, I'm just horribly uncultured.
Yeah.
So the whole model is like you have this trusted brand, and he has this Japanese culture, and he's really leveraging blue ocean effect. Like I have all these different cuisines from my homeland that I love. I'm going into this market, and we can instantly be number one at all these things because no one else is doing it.
Yeah,
and which is smart.
Mm-hmm.
And then using the brand Tatsu-Ya.
Yeah. That's kind of the through line. Yeah.
Right.
Tatsu-Ya.
Like, so people know like, oh, I know this brand. I know it's going to be
exactly.
Good. Was this his vision from day one to be able to go and do?
I don't know. I think, certainly the success of the original ramen shop, which was where a lot of the interest came from. And, I think, even early investors probably would have been like, why don't you just do 1,000 of those? But the man's a chef. He's an artist. And I think, he wanted to explore culinarily. And certainly Kamuri Tatsu-Ya was, I remember we were looking at locations and there was a closed down barbecue shop on the far east side, which is now the near east side. But at the time, like there was one restaurant all the way out there called Justine's. And it was like a trek to go out there. But this place just had so much like history and smoke in the walls and, just so run down and shabby, but like, and in the middle of a neighborhood, literally residential house, this thing, residential house. Like it was grandfathered in. It was a Tejano bar, I think from like the 50s, and then became this barbecue joint for a little while. And so I think just the space inspired Tatsu, you know, like, oh, the smoke on the wall is already a barbecue joint. It had a big pit smoker already in it. So
there's opportunity in the burbs too. And if you can have a restaurant that's baked in, pun intended.
Yeah.
You know, like right there.
No, it was so cool. I mean, it in some ways, you know, looking back, that was a brilliant move because it took the ramen notoriety to the next level. Like, so actually there was a halo effect, because you saw that you could do, you know, full service. I mean, I wouldn't even call it fine dining. It was, you know, supposedly more of a gastropub, although it was full service. Eventually went to reservations, but I mean, the success of it almost dwarfed the success of Ramen Tatsu-Ya.
Wow.
I mean, James Beard nomination, Food and Wine, Bon Appetit. I mean, went to Aspen and cooked at Aspen. You know, it was like one of these moments. It just got Bib Gourmand for Michelin. Yeah,
that's amazing.
So yeah.
So what was your role? I mean, this for you, this was the majority of your career, right?
Yeah.
With the exception of Schlotzkys.
Early on, it was, and again, it changed throughout those 9 years. But in some ways, early on, it was kind of construction, development, you know. But then also marketing, not necessarily branding, because Tatsu really had a very clear eye on that. But it was more like I'm working directly with the PR team. I'm working with the social media team. Promotion, yeah, just kind of like I'll work directly with the web developer and get that right.
Like he was covering product and
exactly
placement, or what is it, packaging? Really, like the brand around it.
Yeah.
And you were focusing
he had
on
the
promotion.
eye and knew the product.
Yeah.
And I also had some tangential oversight to just day-to-day operations.
But this was nothing that you were doing before in terms of you were really
actually
focusing.
Towards the end of Schlotzkys, you know, a lot of the role, now that the infrastructure was built, was opening new restaurants, building training teams, deploying them, reviewing plans, kitchen layouts, dining room layouts. So yeah, in some ways, like I was kind of fresh off of building and opening a bunch of restaurants.
Got it.
And so like, yeah, that muscle was kind of strong.
Like optimizing space.
Exactly. Yeah. How do you fit it in there? So in some ways, like I did that a lot, although the layout for South Lamar was already set, but we pretty soon into it expanded the commissary and then found Kamuri Tatsu-Ya and actually found another spot in Houston. So we were going to do the two dumbest things which you can do, which is open up a new concept and go out of town. And we did it at the same time.
What was the biggest pain for you during this time?
Trying to juggle them both essentially like by myself.
Okay.
Yeah. There was some assistance, but we're keeping a lot of it very under wraps. Literally, I think nobody knew that we were even developing the Kamuri Tatsu-Ya concept until we had to hire about 5 weeks out from opening. So it literally was like, I think Tatsu called it like one of those, you know, album drops that no one knew you were working on. You know, it's just like, there it is.
Yeah, that's cool though.
Came out fully formed. And it was definitely a mind blower. Yeah, Houston, I think we kind of had to say we were coming a little bit to work the publicity. But just juggling those kind of two crews, you know. And then obviously, you know, building a brand new brand, like there's just so much collateral that goes along with it, especially when you're going to the level of detail that we wanted to go. It was mind-boggling.
What was your growth during this time? How did you evolve from the period 2014 and 2023? How were you becoming a better, at this point, I would say you're a restaurateur, right? You're a partner.
Yeah.
Like, how do you approach for equity in the business too? Like that's another conversation.
I think it was always in the conversation from day one.
Okay.
Just took kind of years to get there.
Let's figure out, like, let's do a few years and see how we work together before we get married.
For sure.
Let's date.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was a big dating process. I mean, thinking it was, and in some ways though, you know, having been this sort of artist who, you know, kind of almost jokingly was working at Blockbuster. And in some ways I kind of knew, you know, Fulbright what I was getting into with Schlotzkys, you know, having wanted to open a organic salad concept, you know? So, in some ways, like from an integrity standpoint or, you know, like what I could stand behind, like this is the first time in my career that I was like, I really want to do this and have this be successful.
Yeah.
And so it was, yeah, it was not only hours, it was the brain power, it was it's pretty much full effort.
What was your biggest struggle during this time?
Probably, hours in the day was really kind of it.
Yeah.
There was so much to juggle.
So you were not traveling 3 weeks out of the month, but I
was in Houston at least once a week, you know, sometimes 2 to 3 times a week, but just, like leave. I remember so often I would leave as the sun was rising in the east, blaring me in the face. And then I'd be driving home with the sun blaring me in the face, just over and over again.
If you ever get a job, make sure you move east of where that job is.
Go the other. Yeah. I'm with you.
Yeah.
I'm with you. So no, it was, it was also building the infrastructure of a company, that wasn't there. Like, and so where is the moment that we got to bring in somebody to see the books?
Where was that moment for you?
Well, it was different. It was at different phases where it's like, okay, we need somebody in-house to oversee just construction, or somebody in-house just to oversee marketing, or somebody in-house just to oversee, or, now's the moment where probably we need somebody to oversee multi-unit.
Got it.
And again, there was people that were sort of helping in those roles. There was a partner in the business from early on, another chef, Taco Matsumoto, shout out Taco, who was kind of, so there were these people inside Shion, Tatsu's brother, who was kind of overseeing, operations for the ramen shop. So there were, there were stops in place and there were people in place, but like nobody really knew how this company should form, like when is the time to decide that, we need a second person in accounting, that can kind of divide up, receivables and purchases, or some of these tasks. And then, like to start sort of managing those departments in some ways was like just a skill that I had to get skilled up on pretty quick.
So
leading leaders. Yeah.
You were there for 9 years.
9 years.
And you're still, have equity or investment in the business.
Yeah.
During this 9 years, how did you come out of this experience better? Like how did this help galvanize the consultant you are today?
To me, I think it gave me in some, I backed into the industry, instead of like starting out opening restaurants or, working in one spot day to day. I kind of popped in and was now, you've got 50 restaurants throughout the Midwest to oversee, so like I had to start big picture, because that's how I started. And in some ways, I think the 9 years at Tatsu-Ya, like I got super micro.
You went the opposite direction.
Yeah. And saw it and saw that day-to-day evolution, and I remember for the first kind of 2 years, I would just work the kitchen every Tuesday lunch. Like, I was just like, I'm going to do it, like I've got to get the hand movements down, like I want to see the art of this thing, in some ways similar to Schlotzkys. I kind of, was like, okay, these are the tools that we're going to need to train the next generation of people. And in some ways, like that wasn't there because it was very much a chef mentality, which is another weird thing where like when people come from this fine dining background, which Tatsu kind of did, like you don't write things down. You don't really, I think they do now, but there was that sort of training comes from doing. It's like a tribal knowledge, passed on oral tradition.
Well, there's two things that can determine success in an organization, right? It's back to yin and yang, right? Yeah. Systems, processes, procedures, protocols, standards, culture.
And the very human touch, feel, do.
Recreating yourself and others, going through it every day, showing up.
This guy is so passionate about it that when he's telling me how to do this, that's more powerful than any training material I could have.
Right. But you need both, or you need to find the balance of those two things that make sense within your organization or your concept.
So for Tatsu-Ya, that experience gave me the yin and yang a little bit. Yeah. It's sort of like, here's how big companies grow. This is what a large national marketing campaign looks like and can do. And then, boy, how do you ride this horse that's like it's just a pony.
What were your biggest struggles personally?
Biggest struggle?
Going from that big picture to like micro to, you know, you're helping scale this organization. You got to 7 units in one concept and 10 total units altogether.
Yeah. Probably taking things too personally.
Like what?
You know?
Tell me more.
Well, I mean, there was certainly a moment where we had gotten through COVID, you know, and it just exhausted everybody. And it, you know, again, I think there's a whole world of everybody's COVID adventures, which felt so personal and so unique. And then afterwards you talk to everybody and they're like, oh yeah, we all made that shit up on the fly, but we all kind of did the same thing.
Right.
Yeah. But we went from a brand that sold no to-goes to nothing but to-goes, you know, and now that genie can't get put back in the bottle.
Right.
You know? So now we're redesigning restaurants. I don't know, even coming out, I think everybody was so exhausted that there was, you know, talk of bringing in additional leadership. And I think I did not do well having a new boss.
Yeah. I just realized how fast time's going. It's 3:00 right now.
I'm good if you're good.
I'm good, man. I just want to make sure I don't want to disrespect your time.
No.
Your wife might be coming back home soon too. I'm in her parking spot.
Plenty of spots on the street. Don't worry about her.
So taking it personally, you say get more into that. Tell me more.
Oh, just feeling like, you know, nobody could do this but me, you know. And I think there was some missteps with leadership that was brought in, and it was just hard for me to get over that. I think there was just, it's hard too. I mean, I think I'm, you know, I got to grow like everybody else, you know? And so I think, I don't know if I was seeing that path. I think all things were pointing towards, do a lot more ramen shops. And that was exciting in some respects, but also like, okay, you know, I kind of did that before.
Right.
You know,
I think it's a good example of like when, you know, back to the whole reason why we do, what do they call it? The 4 disciplines? What's the goal? Yeah. Right? Yeah. What's the VTO? What's the vision? Yeah. Where are we going? Do we want to go to the same place? Yeah. Like, is that, you know, are your partners, is their vision to do a bunch of one-off creative concepts that are tied to the Tatsu-Ya brand? Mm-hmm. Or is it to take one thing and scale it?
Well, and when the chef owner and the investors have different opinions on that, and you're in the middle, it's a tough position to be in.
Yeah. I mean, I can only imagine, man.
Yeah. So in some ways, I think I also realize that in some ways I've got to do my own thing, you know?
That leads to the next question. Why? Yeah. So like you decided that this wasn't your 5-year plan in terms of where they were going. No. And you wanted to do your own thing. What was talking to you?
I think a little bit of like, it has to be all mine if I'm the only guy that picks up the phone when the alarm goes off at 4 a.m, you know, like it's got to be all mine if I'm willing to continue doing this to this level and kind of, you know, so it was either opening up a new restaurant or trying something, but then there's also just that, like, to have had that much, you know, like, and again, maybe I probably put too much on myself, but really being like ultimately the day-to-day responsible person for the company, you know, the buck kind of stopped with. I mean, Tatsu was great, but he never said he wanted that, you know?
He's creative.
He's a creative. Yeah. And I was the operator. And so it was kind of like, oof, that's you know, so I mean, and rekindling my relationship with Steve, getting back in touch with him and seeing that in our lives, we were kind of at the same spot. And it's funny, we're born in the same year. We're like, you know, very similar people. He was the guy, I don't know if he told you, but at Schlotzkys, me and him were, you know, trading franchise consultant of the year awards year after year. Yeah. Literally is my only competition.
Yeah. So talk more about, so we kind of skipped right over Steve and like your relationship with him at Schlotzkys. And now you two are partners together with KIC Hospitality.
KIC Hospitality.
KIC. Sorry, I keep on saying
you can do either. It is an acronym. It is an acronym, but
so you guys, you know, I mean, what a great person to go into business with, your biggest competition.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you guys are rekindling your relationship. Like, what's the narrative?
Sounds very romantic. I don't know. Yeah.
Feel the heat coming from here and that kindling.
Yeah. Well, he was certainly the guy that, I mean, I was just always cracking up with, you know, and I just, I couldn't believe that some people took themselves so seriously. And here's this guy that I'm like, he's getting great results just like me, and he's having a blast doing it, and his franchisees love him just like mine love me. And yeah, honestly, we'd even kind of crossed markets at times, or, now I get to hear about the stuff he did. He gets to hear about the stuff I did, I think he moved to Moe's Southwest Grill at a moment in time where I was kind of in the training department. So yeah, like we had these brief couple of years where we were doing the same job, but kind of always just kept in touch, once a year or something, how's it going? But yeah, I think at that moment, I think we both kind of had an epiphany that this would be something really cool to try to do. We have enough contacts, I think, never enough contacts,
right?
But that's why I'm doing this.
Yeah. Well, my whole thing is like, I'm out there talking to these restaurateurs.
Yeah.
The whole thing I'm trying to do with this podcast, like, this is literally my research.
Yeah.
Talking to people is my research. It's documented. Yeah. I can point back and say, I heard this from so and so. Then I'm looking for patterns. And KIC was referred to me by Rachel Cope.
Yeah.
She said amazing things about you guys. I'm like, where are they based?
Her.
Where are they based?
Yeah.
Dallas and Austin. How convenient.
Yeah.
That's where I'm heading next.
There.
And like, I really want to like be able, like, this past 2.5 months has been the best work I've ever done.
Nice.
Because I am literally following the trail. I'm following the clues. I'm looking for crumbs.
Yeah.
And I'm following the crumbs, and I'm going to the source, the loaf, and here we are.
You found the loaf.
Yeah, man. And it's just like, and it's really about offering perspective too, and understanding that there is no one path.
Yeah.
No one path for an organization, no one path for an individual. And if you're listening to us, my goal is to kind of help you get these perspectives on like a macro level, and then the details of how to run a business on a micro level, and really just trying to like talk to as many people as possible, but also to not make it about like vanity metrics. And really going after the people that are like behind the scenes, like doing the work like you are, like the franchise consulting person that traveled their entire career helping people be successful. Like, you're not out there trying to promote yourself. You're out there helping people, doing the work. Like, I want to find you. Like, and promote you.
Because I need to be better at promoting myself. And it's always been in some ways, my biggest struggle. But
I think there's something to be said about the world we live in right now.
Yeah.
Where is it more important to promote yourself or more important to do the work and let it speak for itself?
To think that would be the case. Yeah. And I'm banking on it. Although I am finding that actually meeting people and doing things like this and having coffee and conversations
word of mouth
is like, I don't know why I've been avoiding that.
Yeah.
Mainly because I think I just get obsessed. I get obsessed with the thing that I'm doing, and it's sort of like, it's like eating right or anything. Like, I know I probably should be, I don't want to say networking, just like reaching out to friends that I haven't talked to in a while, or, oh my God, that person started that thing and I'm fascinated by that. I'd love to get coffee with them. Well, but I'm so obsessed with this thing that I'm doing. I'll do that later. So
yeah.
No, it's good. I mean, you're an inspiration to me for sure.
Well, I mean, I'm looking for, the Steves and the Jeffs of the world, the people that are helping, the specialists, the assassins, I like to call them.
Yeah.
So you've been in business now for about a year with Steve.
Mm-hmm.
What is your core focus? Like, what is it that you think you guys are being drawn to the most right now? Like, what are you looking for opportunity?
Yeah, I think where we probably play best is kind of an emerging concept. Or emerging company if it has multi-concepts. Like obviously you mentioned Rachel Cope, and we're working with her, and she, oddly similar to Tatsu-Ya, kind of has like this tentpole pizza concept, but in a few auxiliary brands as well.
Yeah.
I think that size company is what really appeals to us. Probably the ones that haven't.
She's between right around 10.
She's
units.
a 10. Yeah. Probably the ones that haven't necessarily been heavily courted by private equity or, investments that maybe want to kind of build to the size where they have something of value or
some
interest.
Internal tweaking to get to that next step.
Yeah. How do they kind of make sure that they've got everything in the right spot to where they're just maximized. Yeah, they're maximized.
Steve kind of went into detail with your process of how you kind of go and you kind of approach it as a consumer. You go, you sit in, you
the diagnostic.
And then you kind of go and you lift up the skirt a little bit, see what's going on behind the scenes.
Sure, yeah.
You know, what can be improved back here.
Yeah.
And then, you know, and really looking for opportunities, you know, that, you know, if you tweak these little things, like for Rachel, and she's shared this, which is why I feel comfortable talking about it.
Please, I don't want to reach anything.
Training and I think it was communication were the two areas where you were able to really help her, she said.
Yeah.
So what did that look like? How?
Well, I mean, I'm glad you brought it up because, I mean, that's, I guess, having been in business, both big and small, have seen some consultants at work and have always felt like you're just fixing this thing.
Yeah.
You know, you have one solution, but like it's not in any way taking into account the whole, you know. And I think Steve and I, when we said what we want to do, I mean, it's that we need to address the whole. Because then you're really no better than a software solution, like we talked about. You know, I'm fixing one thing. I come in and I can say, your marketing sucks. You need to do this. You know, but been 1,000 times that people have had a great promotion that the operations team was not ready to handle, and they fell flat on their face. You know, and boy, we drove sales like this for a week, and then it went way down. We pissed a bunch of people off. You know, so we wanted to really take that take the time to see it as a whole, to get to know the leadership teams, to get to know the GMs, to watch a variety of services at different times a day with different managers and different locations. Because, I mean, anybody can have an off day, just like anybody can have an on day, you know, like it's, and I guess having been in it for so long, you kind of know that if you don't take the time to see it, to also understand the leadership dynamics of the leadership teams, to kind of see where are the roadblocks, who's gatekeeping what, you know, why are things not happening as quick as they should be, or maybe happening too fast in some respects, you know, and then really taking the time to create a very comprehensive report about that along with a plan. Yeah. That then kind of leads into, fixing your day-to-day whirlwind and solidifying your operations, but then also, and again, we're just getting started with Rachel on this, but kind of launching something like a 4DX where you can... What's a 4... Oh, the... Yeah, 4 disciplines execution or EOS or anything where now it's sort of like...
Same process, different language.
Yeah, we're now, instead of everybody looking out and in and out and around, like, oh, no, we're going there. Yeah. But I think sometimes organizations at this size in particular, that kind of 5 to 15, you know, like often, and I lived it, so I know, are just hanging on by the seat of their pants. They're just getting the doors open and closed and the money to the bank. Like they are one person quitting away from like disaster. You know,
and like when I started this podcast, it was very much inspired by the entrepreneurial podcast where you had these tech entrepreneurs sharing how they're making money online and like how to do it. And I was like, why aren't we sharing this industry, like this restaurant industry knowledge? Like how, and then I started getting in there and it was meant to be motivational and inspirational. We still do the success quote and mantra at the beginning of every episode, but the reality of it is
it's all about people.
It's all about people and the industry is barely holding on.
No, for sure.
Some people are doing really right?
Showing a bright light on like,
you know,
if your sales don't show up this week, you're done.
I mean, there's a reason why my mission statement is to inspire, empower, and transform the industry. Yeah. And it's because I think there's a lot of transformation that our industry needs, a lot of self-reflection of like, what are we doing? Yeah. Like, what does a good, healthy business look like? Mm-hmm. And can we get the picture of that so we can all strive for it? And then, you know, like how does the cream rise, you know? Yeah. And like, there's so many restaurants today, but like,
and everybody knows the statistics, right? And
right.
And some of them you're just like, you had 2/3 of it right. You know, like you priced it wrong. Right. Yeah. Your service model was wrong. Your layout was wrong.
So many things to consider, which is why I like to get into the economics of different models to help people get benchmarks and say, well, I'm similar to this model. You know, and I think what I liked about what you shared with us is that you really have to take the time as a consultant to go in
Yeah.
And to like understand the organization, not just the model. Is it fast casual or quick service, but who are the people behind this organization? Where are the gatekeepers? Where does the buck stop? Like where does the information come in from and where does it flow? Like what's the hierarchy look like? You know, like,
and does it get to the team at the restaurants, you know,
Right.
and then does that transfer to the guest, you know,
Right.
like that,
people reach out to me all the time. They're like, I'm looking for a restaurant consultant. Can you make a recommendation? And I'm like, I know a lot of people like I need to know more about you.
Yeah.
Like I need to like block at least 2 hours with you and just ask questions so I can figure out where you are, what your budget is, what you're like, where are you going? You know, like I can't just like, you know, like I'm trying to play matchmaker, but like to your point, like you can't go in and help somebody unless you really spend time like looking for what.
And I would guarantee you that the thing that they think is the problem might not be the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, like there's something below it,
Right.
or they're, you know, the root cause of that. And just like, showing up at a franchisee who hadn't seen anybody in 4 years, who had a dirty restaurant, didn't know it was dirty, you know, like sometimes, just coming
You gotta know
in,
where to look.
Like, I think your problem isn't marketing. It's your restaurant.
Sometimes that different perspective.
Yeah.
Just like, you know, looking from the outside in, from knowing what angle to glance at.
Totally.
You know, like you can see something. And when you're so close to it every day, like sometimes it's like you're standing close to the tree. All you can see is that tree. You can't see the forest. You know, like it's
we've seen it too.
Back.
It's just like that. Right. It's like entropy, right? Everything is slowly degrading, right? Unless you're actively making it better, you know, like it's just, and that understanding is hard. Like nothing stays the same, right? So it's either getting worse or it's getting better.
Yeah.
And some, you know, it's amazing how standards that you would have thought were so ingrained into a brand somehow slip just ever so slightly day to day to where, if somebody doesn't come in and say, hey, wait, this says that, but you're doing this.
Drift. It happens.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
Like I have no idea how it got so far.
Yeah.
I trusted that manager to do that thing. And then, you know, but they left and they were the ones who did that.
Yeah.
And then, and I wasn't doing it. So no, it's, and a lot of it is that, you know, like what are the guardrails that you got to put around ensuring that your brand doesn't degrade, you know?
Right.
And, in some ways, I think that's what we can help with. And it's not always just a different training tool or better marketing. You know, it's just like, wow, your communication message is not getting to your people.
Yeah.
They don't know what's important to you. They think it's about something else completely. You know, like how did that happen?
I think the dog's coming over to tell us that we're at time right now. He's like, you guys have been talking long enough.
Yeah.
It is time to wrap this up. And I think he is right. Anything we have not discussed up to this point that we need to get out?
Man, I think we covered more than was expected. Oop. Whoa.
Now he's trying to knock over my camera. He's like, enough already. Stop talking, bro. I want my dad back. So where's the industry heading? Let me ask you that. Like where we talked about where we are or where like your past.
Yeah.
Where you are today. I like to talk about where are we going? What's the future of the industry look like?
Like where do I want it to go or where is it going?
Like both. Like where do you think we are going and how can we self-correct if it's not going where you think we need to go?
Where I'd like to see it go is, I think more specialization in cuisine. I mean,
more blue water.
I love Japan, you know, and just to be like, this guy on this corner has been here for 40 years doing this dish, you know, and he just knows how to do it and everybody's got to go get it, you know?
Yeah.
But also like he never gets overwhelmed, you know, it's not lines out the door. He's just so good that he's able to sustain. Like that would be cool if people can more, you know, a craftsman, be a bit of an artisan, you know, and do well.
How do we find that balance between that?
Man,
I think the opposite of that is scaling, right? And doing one thing.
And I'm promoting scaling in some respects, but I also appreciate, I think it's probably, I mean, I've had these dream scenarios of very like cooperative business ownership, you know, where 12 people all chip in, you know, $40K each, and they run a democratic restaurant, you know, where everybody works the exact same hours. We vote on decisions, you know, like full rotation of duties all the time. Like I've really obsessed. It's unrealistic in some respects, but I also think like if I could lay out this model and try to sell it to somebody, like,
but is it unrealistic? And there are tons of people that are like, more and more people I talk to, the people at the top, they're in like 5 people partnerships, you know? And I think I think that is the future. And you said something that kind of alludes to what the average person wants. If I'm going to be the person that answers the phone at 4 a.m., I want to own it.
Yeah.
You know,
and see the upside.
And if you want to attract onto yourselves the Jeffs of the world, the most passionate, talented individuals, they're not going to do it for a paycheck anymore. They need to have some sense of identity and pride tied to this thing. Like, this is my purpose. And I think if you look at human behavior and how we evolved over tens of thousands of years, we are tribal. We are supposed to exist in a tight-knit group, a tribe, whether that the company that we are a part of, the business, and we optimize our behavior with about 150 relationships.
Exactly.
Moore's law.
After that,
is it more? No, Dunbar's number. Sorry.
Yeah.
Dunbar's number. We can only handle about 150 relationships. So it's about being strategic and finding tribe members who are strong where you're weak. So collectively, like, you know, who's the chef? Who's the operations person? Who's the marketing person? Who's the numbers person? Who's the HR person?
Yeah.
You know, like, who are the people that are directly reporting to those people? And like, when you start, and like, who are the frontline people? And when you look at the most optimized organizations that run the cleanest, the happiest, they're at about 150 people. So like, there are patterns here.
Yeah. No,
and
for sure.
I don't think you're far off. I just think that the common narrative, the history of most successful organizations, what we're taught in terms of what works well with business, what gets you rich, is empires.
Yeah.
Dictatorship.
Yeah.
You know, like, think of history.
Ray Kroc or something. It's just like, how did somebody become wildly successful doing this?
But that's also the rich getting richer and the poor getting poorer. So how do we move into the future?
Although actually, if you look at the McDonald's model, there was a lot of franchisees that did very well. Like,
how many locations do they have?
Total. I mean, I've heard that some, family and, so-and-so has 6 McDonald's, and it's been creating generational wealth for them.
Right. Yeah. But even if you look at that, like how many total McDonald's were there?
Close to 10, 12,000, something like that.
12,000 McDonald's?
Yeah. And
how many, so there's Ray Kroc at the top of that, right?
Yeah.
And then how many franchisees are there in those 12,000?
Yeah, I got to think you'd average, 5 to 10 locations per, but there's probably a franchisee that has 150 of them or 200.
So of those 12,000 locations, how many people are employed by McDonald's?
Yeah.
Millions.
Yeah.
So the top 1% of that organization did really well.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
They just grew to have their top 1% just got bigger. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's still the rich getting richer and the poor getting poorer.
No, and I'm with you. And that's kind of the biggest downfall you see is that that restaurants are entry level. They are a high school job. They're, something that requires no skill. Right? You go to Asia, you go to Europe, lifetime server, like this. I don't know. I mean,
so how do we close that gap, right?
Yeah, I think that's where...
And that gap being the ultra rich in the industry and the people who are just love the thing that they're doing but can't
That's what I was
survive.
sort of talking about, that cooperative leadership or cooperative. And I see this as actually like in the actual 4 walls of the restaurant where there's, instead of a vertical integration, it's just purely horizontal, and it's almost like everybody's a manager. And then when one wants to move on, we'll put one in training, but there's kind of like an equal pay structure and profit sharing amongst that group, to where it's sort of, if sales are down, then we're going to vote somebody off the island, you know, and it's just we're again, I think you need an organizing body or person above that, but I think that model's not, I'm
an exploration for this, I'm looking for it, I think it all starts with the decentralization, democratization of information and knowledge.
For sure.
And when you start talking to people and you start sharing the information and you start taking the knowledge from these leading restaurateurs across the country and you say, all you got to do is hit play.
Yeah.
And if you want to operate like this, like we can take this information and we can spread it out there so that we can level the playing field. And I think that takes a little bit of distribution of knowledge and wisdom, but also a little bit of consciousness.
Yeah.
of saying, let's do what's best for everybody. Let's choose to not do like what's best for one person, but do what's best for all of us. Because at the end of the day, all we really need to be happy is enough money to cover our securities, our liabilities, and have a little bit of security.
Got to have that Maslow's hierarchy. I need to be safe.
6 figures will cover that for most people, right?
Yeah.
Beyond that, it's about, do I have purpose?
Yeah.
Am I seen?
Exactly.
Am I growing?
Yeah.
Am I a part of something greater? That's achievable if we choose to subconsciously override the scarcity mindset, the fears of scarcity.
Which is hard because I think a lot of people do have that in the industry.
It's
the
real.
vast majority of the hourly employees, I think, feel that. Yeah.
Yep. Jeff, I really like this, man.
I know. This is we went down a bit of a hole there, but I love it.
Yeah, man. It's what I live for. What is one thing about your business, man? A value, a process, a system that makes you truly unstoppable?
Ooh. I mean, I think we discussed it, but it's that diagnostic. I think it's that like taking the full look.
Yeah.
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 I think we'll refine it and get it, tighter and quicker, but you got to take the full look. Yeah.
The mission statement is to change the world through inspiring, empowering, and transforming the industry. How have you personally transformed? How are you a better man than the man you were when you got started?
Oh, well, I think it has kept me young. I think it's kept me engaged. I think it's, feeding people is like the ancient art, people have been doing this forever. It's, I think everybody knows what the first job was, but it's like the second job. To be part of this kind of ancient tradition of feeding people, it's nothing simpler and more beautiful than that. To just, all the people that I've met, all the experiences that I've had, I couldn't trade it for the world. I knew early on I couldn't be an office guy. Yeah. It was just one of those, like, I am, you said, a social creature that needs to be out in the world with my tribe.
I love that.
And being in the mix. So I think that's, I don't know if I answered your question, but
you did. So I think self-awareness of where you belong.
Yeah.
That's how you transformed. This next one is a doozy, and then we're going to have you call somebody out. But if you got the news, you'd be leaving this world tomorrow. Mm-hmm. All the memories of you, your work, and your restaurants would be lost with your departure, with the exception of 3 pieces of wisdom that you could leave behind for the good of humanity and your legacy. What would those 3 pieces of wisdom be?
Boy, I should have prepared for this.
It's a solid one.
Yeah.
I'll give you the first one. It's all about the people.
It's all about the people.
It's all about relationships.
I mean, I think
That's
it's
how we
all
started it.
Yeah, exactly. Just play nice,
2.
I think, get better.
Yeah. This has been a lot of fun, Jeff. Thank you so much, man. How can we connect? If we've enjoyed today's conversation, we want to talk to you. We want to get your perspective.
Yeah.
Is there an email you can drop? Website?
Jeff at KIC Hospitality. Yeah.
And that's KIC
hyphen hospitality. Yeah. .com. You got it.
And who do you respect and admire? Who is somebody that if you found out I got this person on the show, somebody who you just think they're doing it right, they're respected, they have a good quality product, and they're also fiscally responsible. That's a big one for me. I want to make sure we're sharing knowledge on how to actually make money, make this fiscally, not just, economically or what's the word? Ecologically?
Yeah. Sustainable. I really like this guy, Mo Piddle.
Mo Piddle.
Yeah. He is the man behind Jew Boy Burger, Jew Boy Subs, and Jew Boy Sliders here in Austin. He is a Jew, so
he's allowed to say it.
He's allowed to say it. But man, is he an incredible character.
Jew Boy Burger, Jew Boy Sub,
and Jew Boy Sliders. Yeah.
What's the difference between the burger and the slider? Just
one is huge and one is small. Yeah. He's been doing it in Austin. I think he keeps getting voted best burger in town. He knows how to make good food for sure.
I love it.
Yeah. He's very, very
Mo Piddle.
And he's an incredible guy. Yeah.
3 locations, or are there multiple locations for each concept?
He's got 2 slider trailers, actually maybe 3, and then 2 brick and mortars. Yeah.
I'd love to make that happen. Mo Piddle, look out. I'm coming after you. I'd love to get your story.
Go get him.
And this is where I say, man, thank you so much. for taking the time to go over by almost a half hour, to miss a meeting,
Yeah.
to kick your wife out of here so we could have the house quiet.
I kept the dog.
I cannot do what I do without people like you getting open, getting vulnerable, getting generous with your time and knowledge. And thank you so much. There is no questioning. You are unstoppable.
Hey, thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers.
What up, Unstoppables? I hope that something in today's episode stirred you a little bit. I hope that you're feeling just a little bit more unstoppable. And if you are, you're not alone. We have a community of restaurant owners over at Restaurant Unstoppable Network that we are guiding to proven experts, tools, and services based on real world success stories. So 1,200 episodes, over 12 years of traveling the country, gathering information, talking to the best. And it is time to not sell out, but cash in on the biggest lessons I've learned and to pour water and groom the most important relationships I've developed. These are the experts and the vendors that I would go to tomorrow. We're going further together. I don't want to be the expert in all things. I got somebody for that. I know somebody in almost every walk of area of niche in the restaurant industry that can help us go further together. And when you sign up for Restaurant Unstoppable Network, you get access to all these owners, mentors, industry experts, vendors that were referred to us organically. You also get access to these individuals through workshops, power hours, mentoring sessions, and private live dramatic demonstrations. You get access to me twice a month where you can ask me any and all the questions you have. If I can't point you in the right direction, I will freaking create a piece of content for you. You get access to ad-free, early release, bonus content, and it's all pushed straight to your phone. And the Unstoppabot, did I mention we have an AI agent? You get access to our Unstoppabot, which has over 1,200, that is 2,400 hours of content, transcripts uploaded with conversations, no agendas, just restaurateurs sharing how they got to where they are today. You can literally ask it all of your questions. We've cross-referenced this to our databases so you can get really detailed. And what else do you get? You get access to our Facebook group. And last but not least, and I think this is the most crucial part, like my podcast becomes your podcast. You get the ability to influence future content. Look, I don't own a restaurant. You do. I have to live vicariously through you. When you join RUNetwork, you get access to me and I will go create the content that you need that will help you get to the next point. I will schedule it around your availability. You get all this when you head over to restaurantunstoppable.com/live. And if you want everything that I just mentioned, minus the live events, access to the live events live, then just head over to restaurantunstoppable.com/RU library. We'll see you there.